Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking. About Grand Theft Auto. Digital sales have been skyrocketing still, even a decade afterwards. We're going to be talking about that, and we're going to go into the digital market, and we're going to follow articles all the way back from 2021 up till now, talking about digital sales going on and what the split is over the years. We're also going to talk about Microsoft and PC Game Pass arrive on the Nvidia GeForce Now service this week, just in time for Starfield before Starfield launches. We're also going to be talking about the new PlayStation handheld. There's a lot more details on it. It's around $200 price point. So we're going to go down the details and the reviews of it and the hands-on of it, and we'll have a little conversation about that as well. After that, once we're done with those three topics, we're going to go to YouTube and watch day one of Gamescom. There's a couple of interviews. There was one with Phil Spencer talking about what Xbox's future. We're going to talk about Zack Snyder's film, Rebel Moon. The reason I want to talk about that is we're interested in like Star Wars type of stuff, and it looked interesting, but also what he said, I was kind of hooked on it, but then when he started talking about it, I was like, okay. So all of this on today's show. If you like it, please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and let's get to it. Come on, boss. Come on, Travis, Jesse Mack, water. All right, so let's start off with Microsoft's Game Pass coming to Nvidia GeForce Now. So Microsoft's PC Game Pass arrives on Nvidia's GeForce Now service this week. Xbox PC games from Microsoft Store and PC Game Pass are coming to Nvidia's streaming service. So Nvidia is starting to roll out access to the PC Game Pass and Microsoft Store titles on GeForce Now's streaming service this week. PC Game Pass subscribers will be able to start streaming titles through GeForce Now on August 24th, including first-party Microsoft games like Deathloop, Grounded, as well as the third-party titles like No Man's Sky, Mount Blade 2, Banlord. While PC Game Pass Microsoft Store games will be available on GeForce Now, not only of them will be available on Steam immediately on NVIDIA's service. Now, NVIDIA has done the work integrating Microsoft Store to GeForce Now, but it still needs to onboard all the games that are available on PC Game Pass subscription. That means PC Game Pass subscribers, that anyone who has purchased a Microsoft Store game might need to wait a little while they get the entire library to be available on GeForce Now. Now, Microsoft's first Xbox for PC started arriving on GeForce Now in May. Following the deal between Microsoft and Nvidia, the company signed a 10-year deal agreement that allows Nvidia to license Xbox PC games to GeForce Now, now as part of the broader effort for Microsoft to appease regulators over the proposed Activision Blizzard deal. The deal also includes access to Activision Blizzard titles, and Microsoft complies the acquisition. Now, cloud gaming has proven to be a continuous part of Microsoft's proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition, with the UK's Competition and Market Authority citing the primary reason it's blocked the deal in April. Now, in response, Microsoft is planning to sell off its Activision Blizzard cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft in an attempt to get the deal cleared by the UK. Ubisoft will also control the streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games outside of the EU and license titles back to Microsoft, including Xbox Cloud. So, I find it funny that Nvidia and Microsoft team up, right, just months before, and then now Starfield's coming out. Now, they didn't mention Starfield specifically, but it is, Game Pass is coming out, so now you can use Game Pass on the Nvidia GeForce Now. So it's interesting to see, and just again pushing forward the what Microsoft is trying to do. They're trying to get their games out as to many people as possible, and in as many ways as possible. Let me bring up chat here so I can actually see you guys. So I can actually see you. Morning, boss. What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Kylo? I wish it was Thursday. Why? What's Thursday, Jesse? Or Kylo? That there's a future game show today around the same time as yesterday. Yeah, we won't be live. We won't be live for it. I got covered yesterday for my wife picking up the son, but I have to pick him up today, and then we have swim practice and stuff today. So technically, it's day one. It's day one of the show. Yesterday was just the opening night. Today is day one, not day two. Come on, Soups. So, I'm going to ask you, chat. Are you guys, does anybody out there have the Nvidia GeForce now? Do you guys use it in any way, shape, or form? I don't use these handheld devices. We're going to go from this handheld and streaming platform, whatever. Because I know you can use Nvidia GeForce now as far as you can use it on the Steam Deck, right? You can use it. It's just a service that you're paying for, and then it's included into that, correct? Now, which is funny to me though, because you have to pay for Nvidia's GeForce now, and then you have to pay for Game Pass separately, correct? Which are two different monthly subscriptions. Yeah, we're gonna watch Ahsoka probably this weekend. It's just way too many damn streaming services. Yeah, it's a streaming service on a streaming service though, Water, right? Because I don't know the price. What's the price of Nvidia? What's the price of Nvidia? Nvidia GeForce. Okay, monthly membership. Play the Ultimate Portal. Okay, experience. Pay member benefits. Okay, so choose a member tier. There's a basic tier. It's $0 a month. Basic rig, standard access to gaming services, and 1 hour session length. 1 hour session length. Okay. If you get a priority one, it's $10 a month. You get a premium rig, RTX on, priority access to premium service, 6 hours in length per month, up to 1080p resolution and up to 60 frames. And then if you get the ultimate, it's $20. You get to stream basically from an RTX 4080 rig available everywhere. Exclusive access to the 4080 service, 8 hour session length. But what does that mean? Is that per day? Is that what it is? It's an hour per day. That's what it is, not per month. So it's a 6 hour for $10 a day, and it's 8 hour session a day for $20. Up to 120 frames per second. That's crazy. So you're paying $20 just for that service. And then if you're paying for the Ultimate Game Pass, then you're paying an additional $20. So you're paying $40 a month just for that. It's the old school data plans. Yes, but now for streaming, for cloud gaming, right? That's what it is, Sarge. That's crazy. Imagine it's being Ultimate, and it's not even their flagship 4090 card. That's nuts. Well, not yet anyway, right? Not yet. It does feel like the old cell phone plans. I love how it says extended game session lengths. Play for hours without interruptions. The audacity of them selling stuff like you get to play for this time period with no interruptions. That's crazy. All right, well, we're going to go from that, and then now we're going to go to PlayStation, the handheld that they're doing, right? PlayStation handheld. Now, the hands-on with the Sony's new remote play handheld. This is from IGN. So let's talk about it here. The PlayStation Portal is a $200 handheld device that puts PlayStation 5 games in the palm of your hand as long as you're on Wi-Fi. Previously known as Project Q, Portal uses the PlayStation 5 remote play feature to stream games from your console. Importantly, the Portal also offers all features of ergonomics of the PlayStation 5. Excellent DualSense controller, including haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and its touchpad. Be clear here, the Portal isn't doing anything hereditary new. Remote play has existed since the PlayStation 3 era. Now, allowing you to stream games from your console to your handheld smartphone or tablet, PC, and Mac. That said, remote play has never really been an ideal experience. You're either compromising visual quality, control setup, ergonomics, or all the above. Now you can make it work in one little convenient device. Now, the goal of PlayStation Portal is to eliminate these pain points and make remote play as easy as just picking it up and playing. The Portal can do something other remote play devices can't. Wake up your PlayStation 5 just by turning it on. So it's ready to go. Now, its design essentially takes a standard DualSense controller, chops it in half, and then slaps those two controller grips on the side of an 8-inch screen of 1080p LCD display. It's definitely a little weird when you use it to more singular-looking designs of currently handhelds like Nintendo Switch or Valve's Steam Deck, but it also lighter than either of those, while giving both the large screen and a full-size control. Okay, the DualSense grips feel exactly like a regular DualSense controller, and all the best features are available here. Trying it out with the Astro's Playroom, I could feel the haptic showcase just as well as when it experienced on the DualSense, and the Portal's adaptive triggers simultaneously or stimulate and pull Alo's bow in Horizon Forbidden West in the exact same way. Even the DualSense touchpad is available through instead of a single character center panel. Two touches areas pop up in the bottom left and right of the display. And when you touch it, the only DualSense feature missing technically is the light bar. But that's forgivable omission considering the nonsensical of the most games. Now, beyond all the regular DualSense inputs, there's a USB-C port for charging, a 3.5 headphone jack for wired headphones, a small pair of speakers that you don't want to use headphones. Connective-wise, it supports Wi-Fi, PlayStation Link, and more on that in a minute, he says, in Bluetooth. Now, the 8-inch screen feels expansive. On the visual quality up front, the PlayStation Portal delivers the 8-inch 60Hz LCD display succeeds at translating PlayStation 5's quality visual into the handheld format. Now, colors look bright, vibrant, and Sony hasn't given me any brightness color HDR specs beyond that in the LCD panel, and the 1080p resolution offers a nice pixel density for the screen size. Does it look as good as playing on the 65-inch OLED TV? Of course not, but as far as handhelds go, the 8-inch screen feels expansive. The video, of course, is being streamed from the PlayStation 5 rather than run locally on the device, and the proverbial sword of the demagogues hanging over all gaming streaming devices is always latency, or the slight delay between when you push a button and when the action of the screen responds. During the demo, I played Astro's Playroom, Horizon Forbidden West, Returnal, and while I wasn't able to do any precise measurements, I didn't experience any noticeable latency. Of course, this was a private demo under ideal conditions, so the experience could change depending on the personal Wi-Fi setup. The remote controller, they say, the PlayStation Portal's use of remote play rather than cloud streaming sets it apart from most of the other streaming platforms like Xbox Cloud Streaming and Nvidia GeForce Now. Whether you're in the same room or on the other side of the world, your home PlayStation 5 is turned on and running your game, beaming it directly to you, as opposed to cloud gaming, where the game you're playing is being run some on remote server, of course. This means you need PlayStation 5 in order to use the PlayStation Portal, but it also means that you're not only on your account progress and trophies are there, but also your actual PlayStation 5 home screen. You can also swap between games or even run any other PlayStation 5 app. I just have to say, Xbox does the exact same thing, because if I'm in my house and I use my iPad that I already own, and then I just take my Xbox controller over Wi-Fi, it literally is streaming my Xbox to my iPad, and there's no latency. None. Right? Over Wi-Fi. So it does the same thing. So I don't know why he says that it's not doing what the other ones are doing, but all right. He also says that you actually have to be in the same room or even on the same local network as the PlayStation 5 in order to stream your games. The experience will be most likely ideal when you're at home, but so long as you're both at home connection, you're also at localization, you're playing it are strong, it'll still work. Though latency will become a much greater factor under those conditions. Yeah, that's the same thing that's happening that I've been using Xbox for the last, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, because I used to do it on the other Xbox as well. To be clear, the Portal doesn't run anything locally, not even basic apps. So if your Wi-Fi goes down, or if someone else wants to use the PlayStation 5, it's not going to work. The system UI on the demo unit wasn't final, so I couldn't see the experience. It was initially powering on the device and getting started, but I was told that there was a simple UI and connecting to the Wi-Fi and establishing the remote play connection. That's it. Won't be able to use the connection on other game streaming platforms or as a multimedia device, though technically, once you're connected to the PlayStation 5, you can load up Netflix and their stream on their Portal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. couldn't you already stream your games from PlayStation to another device like an iPhone, an Android device? So the price point's nice. I have to say the price point's nice of $200, right? Because obviously, if we all have cell phones, but if you don't want to use your cell phone, you're getting an 8-inch screen and you're getting the haptic DualSense feedback and stuff. If you go out right now and go get those handles that you buy for your iPhone or Android device, what is it called? Backbone? That's like $100 plus your $1,000 cell phone. Do you know what I mean? So that's $1,100 system, $1,200 system by using your phone. So for a $200 handheld device to just stream your games from your PlayStation 5 to there, it's actually not a bad price. I think I said if it was $200, it would sell, right? I said, but if it was like $300 or $400, then it wouldn't. And yes, 30, we can. I do it all the time on my iPad. That's what I'm saying. So what would be the benefits, Water? Right? What would be the benefits besides the haptic feedback stuff, right? Because I'm using a much bigger screen on my iPad because I do the exact same thing you do. Like when I travel and go somewhere, I literally just bring a controller, okay? And it doesn't even matter. I can use my PlayStation controller, I can use this controller and my iPad. I just connect it with Bluetooth and then I can start playing, right? I'm just trying to figure out who's the market for, because I would assume most people have an iPad, have an a Chrome, I don't know what Android's called, like an Android device, like tablet of something. You have a phone, you have an iPhone, like you already invested in this display. And you already have a PlayStation 5 controller, you already have an Xbox controller. Right, boss, but that's what I'm saying. This is also for the house, right? That's what it's mainly for. It's mainly for the house. And that's what I don't understand, like what the market is for this. And I'm asking you guys that have a PlayStation, right? Is this like intriguing to you? Like, are you looking at this going, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick this up? Like, what's the benefits of picking this up? Because again, you can play your games right now. And Water, I'm going to ask you again. So when you use your haptic feedback controller and you're playing on your iPad, you can still feel all the motions and stuff, right? Your controller works just the same. Magic Dolphin says the fact that the thing is nothing more than a screen, though, is concerning. Right. That's the only thing I feel like you're getting here is the screen. It's kind of weird, right? Well, it's my PlayStation 5. Nobody's going to tell me I can't get on it. I'm not asking you, boss. Like what I'm saying is this something you would get, right? And you are a Sony guy, right? You love Sony. I think it's a nice device if you don't own an iPad or a display of some sort. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, my wife or girlfriend is watching the television set, right? And I can't use my PlayStation at that time. I'm like, I'm going to go spend $200 so I can go play my PlayStation right now. Do you know what I mean? Jesse Max says, I'm not buying it. I have already got my PlayStation 5. I don't think haptic works when playing remote. Then again, I turned that crap off anyways. I think it does. Because my control, I don't have the haptic stuff, but the vibrations still work when I play. Not for me. I mean, that makes sense. Such a missed opportunity. That's not like the Switch. Take it anywhere. Well, you can, which you can do right now, Travis. Like right now, I don't take my Xbox with me. I literally just take my iPad and a controller. And then I hook up to Wi-Fi if I was in a hotel or if I was at my mom's house or my mother-in-law's house. Okay. I put the iPad on the table or on my lap and I just start playing games through the cloud, right? And for most games, it's not bad because the internet that we have is good in those places that I play, right? I don't need to lug my actual uh, you know, Xbox with me anymore. Now, when I'm at home, if I brought the box with me, right? Like, so let's say I take the box with me, but my mother-in-law only has one television in the house, and they're all sitting around watching the television. Then I have the Xbox hooked up in the house. Then I'm streaming over Wi-Fi, and it's even better because it's just taking my games from my Xbox and throws it over. It's not streaming from the cloud. It's literally coming. Well, it is, but it's a direct connection because it's on the same Wi-Fi. That's what this is doing. I do think it's a good price point, though, $200. So if you're a person that doesn't have a cell phone and you want to use it or use your cell phone, right? Maybe you're a busy person, you get a lot of phone calls or emails or whatnot. Now you can get this with the controller, all in one package for $200. But you're right, it is kind of weird that you can't have like what the Switch has. Yeah, I'd rather just buy a backbone for my phone and play it on there. Personally, I don't have a tablet. Right, and the backbone's $100, right? Who doesn't have a cell phone in this age? Probably like a 10-year-old. Right? I'm trying to put the scenario in the head, Travis. Like, my son wants to play a game. I'm using the television. He's like, "Oh man, I play," and I'm just like, you know what? All right, $200 to get this. I couldn't justify it though. I couldn't. $200 to justify so my son can play on a screen because I'm using the television. You know what I mean? A little weird. I think it's there's a market. I just don't know what market that is. All right, the next topic, I'll take a little longer. Yeah, wait your turn, kid. Exactly. It starts off with Grand Theft Auto, right? It starts with Grand Theft Auto. Because Grand Theft Auto, the digital sales, right? So this comes from just a couple days ago, August 21st. Is that yesterday? 2 days ago. So digital summer sales proposed that GTA 5 back to number 1 across Europe. Right? European monthly charts, the highest charting new game was Pikmin, number 4 at number 11. Okay, so 11.6 million consoles and PC games were sold in July across Europe, up 34% over the same period in 2022. Now, digital downloads represent nearly 7.9 million of that, up 60%, while physical was down 3.75 million, up 0.2%. Okay. This is according to the GSD data, which includes digital sales from most AAA games publishers in every European country. It also includes the physical sales of games in the big European markets. For the full breakdown of countries and publishers, see the bottom of the article. Okay, major summer promotions of PlayStation and Xbox have transferred the charts, with Grand Theft Auto 5 back at number 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 3. Both Rockstar games were discounted on console last month, particularly on PlayStation formats. Now, the highest charting new game was Nintendo's Switch exclusive Pikmin 4 at number 11. Please note Nintendo's first-party games do not include digital download figures. It may not look like particularly strong debut, but for the first 2 weeks, the market of Pikmin 4 sales were up 81% compared to Pikmin 3 Deluxe managed in October of 2020. So in terms of hardware, 493,000 game consoles were sold across the tracked and European countries, which is a 62.5 up over July from 2022, but 2% down compared to June this year. Now, tracked markets are missing 2 key territories in Germany and the UK. Now, the UK hardware figures for July, they can be found here. So let's open that. PlayStation 5 comfortably led the month in Europe, with the console sales up 244% over July's last year. And there was also a strong price promotion. See, what I hate about any kind of when they do this year over year type of crap, obviously last year PlayStation and Xbox didn't have the actual physical products, right? They were delayed. So when it says that it's up 244% over July last year, like no shit, right? There were strong price promotions of PlayStation 5 in July, and the result sales were up 24% over June, and overall year-to-date PlayStation 5 sales are up 203% across the tracked territories. I mean, obviously, it's going to be that way. Nintendo Switch finished the month in second place with sales down 9% compared with July of 2022 year-to-date. Nintendo Switch sales are flat compared to with 2022. Yeah, but what are those numbers, right? To say they're down 9%, but if they sold 200 million units last year, and now they're down 9%, they still sold like 170 million units. Do you know what I mean? It's just a little weird when they say stuff like that. So I want to have a conversation about digital sales, right? So a lot of people the other day were telling me, well, that's not true, that it's not a 20/80 split, right? Because there's other markets evolved. So over the time, since 2017 to 2018, there was articles written that said in 2017, physical sales for games were 80%. And then digital sales were less than 20%, right? It was like an 88 to 20 or 88 to 12%, something like that. And then from 17 to 18, it swapped. Literally, it went 80% digital, 20% physical. So we have an article back in wait, this is a different article. Xbox backwards compatibility sends. Nope, that's not it. Okay. So we have, where the hell is this? Yeah, okay. That's the one we just opened. That's from August 14th. Okay, so the video game industry has basically, over the years, November 22nd of 2021, PlayStation 5 owners preferred physical games over digital. Okay. So from November 2020 to the end of August of 2021, 10 million physical PlayStation 5 games were sold across Europe and beyond. In the same period, digital game sales reached 7.51 million. Okay. And that was in 2021. Then, October, just a year later, EA will no longer sell physical games in Germany. And this will be important in a second. Okay. So they're no longer selling any physical games anymore in Germany. Okay. Now, obviously, there's a bigger percentage of people that play games over in America and, in the UK and whatnot. But specifically in Germany, they're no longer selling physical games, meaning that whole market is now 100% digital, right? 100% digital. So ongoing shift of physical goods and digital downloads continue to have a negative impact on sales development. Revenue from digital downloads is not perceived through EA, but through an affiliate. So they don't even report those sales. Now, just a couple of months later, December 27th of 2022, 72% of console games sold in 2022 were digital versus 28% physical. Okay. So data analyst firm Newzoo has revealed that newly published report of 72% of video games sold consoles during 2022 were digital, while box video games accounted for 28%. Nintendo doesn't generally provide digital sales. Nobody does. Nobody provides digital sales. That's the way they like it for the first-party games. So if they weren't included within the report as suspected, then the digital video game sales would have been even higher, but they don't do that, right? So digital is clearly the most convenient way for most people to acquire the games, and sometimes the cheapest due to both sales and promotions. Okay. Then we have an article from January 10th, just a month later. It says physical game sales are down substantially according to a new report. Okay. Sales of physical copies of video games have dropped quite a bit according to a new report. And the health of video game industry in the UK, the ease of access to digital games has provided convenience to be able to download a game directly onto your PC from home, or just too alluring to seem the old age digital version's physical debate is being settled by people who would rather buy games from a comfort of their own homes. Physical sales have been steadily declining over the past decade with the rise of digital storefronts, but that thing, physical sales declining over the past decade, that's not true, right? Just over, it literally swapped from 17 to 18, right? Sarge says it was a 70-30 split, bro. 80-20. 80-20 is the microtransaction. No. It was literally the 80-20. It just so happens that the 80-20 is the 20% make 80%, but it was also an 80% to 20% when it went to physical digital, I believe. All right. So it also says video game developer Valve and old brick and mortar retail models has struggled to keep pace. Now that Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony offer their own robust digital storefronts, it seems like an era of discs and cartridges may be near its end. The Digital Entertainment and Retail Association in the UK trade organization track physical and digital media sales for the music video game industry, amongst other services, and the ERA estimates 89.5% of games sold in 2022 were digital downloads. Only 10.5% of copies were sold at physical discs or cartridges. Digital sales make up 9 out of every 10 games sold in the UK. Now, obviously, they're only selling in the UK because they still keep track over there, where over here in good old America, they don't keep track of that. They don't want you to keep track of that stuff. They want to try to hide as much as possible. Game industry is total $4.7 billion worth of sales, far surpassing the sales numbers of music and TV and film industry. Now, since digital game retailers like Steam and Epic aren't exactly forthcoming with their sales figures, and the ERA cautious that data is based on estimates, still the ERA has built itself on a reputation of producing the data trusted by the titans of the video game industry, and when their data points to a larger trend of physical media steadily becoming more a niche purchase for diehard fans and video game publishers listen to adjust their sales plans accordingly. Now, as digital versions physical video game sales in the United States in February 2022, a video game industry data tracker called the NDP Game Pulse found that the number of new games available for purchase on cartridge or disc in the U.S. dropped significantly. The 226 titles in 2021 compared to 321 titles in 2018. That's a 30% drop in 2 years, leaving the percentage of physical game sales at only a 10.3% share of the market. This trend is reflected in the rise of digital release, indie games getting physical releases after they have achieved a degree of success and justifies the manufacturing cost. Game publishers are also taking note of that consumers' preference lean heavily towards digital purchases and are manufacturing fewer physical copies than they have in the past reflect the shift. The trend points physical copies becoming more novelty and necessary. Okay. Then we have January 11th. I think this is just a day after. This is a day after. It says 90% of video game sales in 2024 were digital. Now, obviously, I think this is still talking about America. Yeah, it's still the BBC. Okay. Now, they say that while 90% is a huge chunk of video game purchases, the number is quite as drastic as it may appear. Okay. A reason why it might not be the case is mobile gaming. Year on year, as a mobile phones become more advanced, so does its video game offers. So are the numbers misleading? Whether it's free-to-play titles such as Pokemon Go, Fortnite, Call of Duty, or paid games such as Minecraft, Football Manager, or Stardew Valley, mobile gaming is a massive giant. That being said, the same report from the BBC is stated that around 30% of sales came from mobile gaming. So while it might not be as easy to assume that 90% of the number comes from PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, mobile games take a chunk of a huge percentage. Okay? So, as well continue to push forward the digital age, physical media will perhaps become a thing of the past, which pains me to say. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of digital gaming, and I can appreciate the benefits. For starters, as a disabled gamer, the easy for digital gaming is certainly a benefit, not to mention that I can easily share digital games with my son across the accounts. Now, however, I always prefer my own physical media because no matter what you own at that item, and at any given time, providers of digital media can fold, which also results in loss of all your purchases. At least in a physical owned form of media, whether it's a video game or a movie, you will always have the item in your possession. That's also false, right? Because a lot of games now that you buy physical disc, I own Battleborn. Battleborn doesn't exist anymore, right? I own Destiny 2 physical disc, but I can no longer play the actual campaign of Destiny 2, right? So what I'm leading to here, okay, as I continue, and then I'll go on. What's more is that Google Stadia, for example, Google made a big song and dance about digital platform, but after a few short years, the platform was dead. That's because they didn't have the backing of all the titles like Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. It's unlikely event that Sony and Microsoft Nintendo will cease to exist. Well, we'll always own a physical copy of Uncharted, Halo, and The Legend of Zelda. what your thoughts of the increasing video game sales being digital, right? What's your thoughts about being digital? Well, the problem now is less and less things are becoming, even though you're having a physical copy, games are all done digitally online. And you just have a key that inserts to get you access to the actual thing, but you actually don't own that game anymore, right? More of these live service games come out. So even these physical discs that you buy, they're just a gateway to get in to play the game. At any time when they shut the servers down on a live service game, that's it. It's done. You can't play it anymore. Okay. So let's fast forward like 15 years from now, where there'll be a chunk of games that all of a sudden just vanish. They close the servers down and they will be gone. You own those discs, but you will no longer be able to play those discs. Okay. And then 15 years from now, everything will be just digital because the actual physical media is dead for companies. And everyone's like, well, I'm always going to buy physical media. You'll buy physical media as long as the company provides you physical media. Okay. But if they choose to take physical media away from you, then you have no choice but to get digital. These are facts. And if the market shows that 90%, okay, I don't care if it's digital for mobile is included in that. If more and more people are buying digital goods, then the companies will make less and less physical copies. Okay. Which then has this whole other market underneath, because now if you own a physical copy and then down the road a collector or someone's looking for it, that price is going to go skyrocketing because there's less and less physical media. So that's literally a collector's edition, right? Let me see what you guys are saying in chat here. I can't think of any digital only games I play. Well, Diablo 4. Oh, you're saying you haven't bought a digital game. I was thinking of the ownership of the game. My bad. I only get the physical copy of a game that I don't care if I play immediately or if it comes on tons of cool stuff like Final Fantasy 16, Collector's Edition, Metal Box, Map, etc. Sure, but even when they sell those physical copies, boss, the game, the disc is just a key to get access to their game, right? Barry says, I've been gaming since the cassette tapes was a cartridge, and I think we need to get with it with the times. It's a digital world. I don't want to let go of physical. I play a lot of digital because of what I do, because it's just easier. Hey, 30, you're going to play it on day one? Well, if I go to the store, there's no more midnight launches anymore. I can't go to the store and get midnight. Like GameStop doesn't even open at midnight for a lot of things anymore, right? So I have to wait for the next day. And then if I go to the store and pick it up and then download it, maybe I have time to play it, like to upload it, to download it, to play. But for the most, it's just easy. You can preload it days early, right? That's another bonus, right? Buy it now. You could download. People were downloading Starfield 2 weeks before, right? Or whatever game it is, like weeks before. You could download this, but you can't play it until we give you access to it. DC Universe Online, MAG, were probably my favorite of all time midnight releases. I think mine was Grand Theft Auto 4. That was a good midnight launch. Let's see. SOCOM 2, 3. MAG was an online game. I love it on my PlayStation era. Yeah, MAG was great. Travis says, question. If I don't care about DLC or PvP in Destiny 2, fun for just the core campaign or nah? You can't even play the core campaign. You're missing the entire first 2 years of Destiny. Or the Red War, which is the first year. Kyle says, I do like physical media, but I think only have like 3 discs Xbox One Series games, especially being on PC. No one installs disk drives on their PCs anymore, or even make discs for PC. And that's my point, Kylo, right? Everyone's like, I have a whole wall of DVDs. I have a whole wall of stuff, until you don't. Because it doesn't matter if you want to buy physical media. If the market says that physical media is no longer going to be, then you're going to have a really hard time going out to find it, right? Like, I have, I think, 193 games on my Xbox. Okay? Those are all digital. They shut those servers down. All that stuff is gone. All that stuff is gone. This is just a few of my games, right? This is just a few of my games that I have from, back and front, physical. There's what? 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 pages back and front of disc. And then I have a whole bookshelf of just games. I have, I don't know, gotta be 100, 150 games, right? Of Xbox 360, PlayStations, right? Like all this stuff, right? And those are mine forever. I have the systems. I can plug them in. I can play them. 10 years from now, if the next Xbox is not backwards compatible, or if I don't pay the fee, right? If I don't continue paying for Game Pass, right? Or continue paying for the service, because all my games are on my box, but if I don't pay, because they could do this, if I don't pay continuously monthly payment, then I lose all my stuff, right? So years and years of me purchasing stuff just gone. And I'm not even talking about microtransactions. I'm talking about physical media, right? That I would go out and buy those stuff. It doesn't matter if you go buy it or not, digital or physical. They shut the servers down. You can't play those games anymore, and they're gone. Even some single-player games. Your digital game also has a life expectancy. You won't be able to play that in one day. Or play it one day, right? Boss says, when or if they cut the servers off, I got my money's worth. Yeah, but that's just justifying that you don't own it anymore. Right? And that's fine if you can take that for yourself. But I can still play my games from the original Xbox on my original Xbox. I can still play my PlayStation 2 games on my PlayStation 2. I own that physical stuff. Dave Rose says, all my games on PlayStation 5 are physical, but 2 games, and it's about 50 titles. But there are going to be some games in that collection, Dave Rose, that you won't be able to play once they decide that they don't want to support it anymore. Because even if your games are working right now on your PlayStation 5, let's say Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation decide that the next consoles are not backwards compatible. Sure, they get pushed back or whatnot, but they're just like, yeah, it's just not worth keeping the servers open. They're like, those are dead. You happen to trade in your PlayStation 5 for a PlayStation 6. Well, now all those PlayStation 5 games are obsolete, right? I do prefer Switch games physical. I like having cartridges. Now that's one thing I'd be interested to see what the stats are for Nintendo, because we have a lot of games for the Switch, and I would say, again, I think we have maybe 25 games. I think we maybe have 5 games that are digital. Everything else is physical. I think we only have 5 games on the Switch that's digital. Everything else is physical. Hell, I can still enjoy my Dreamcast. Well, then it also goes into this conversation, Travis. Like yesterday, the Atari came out and said that you can buy this new system for $130 or whatever it is. And then I just got the emulator and played it right on my PC, all the Atari games. Name a game, I could play it. It's like, why would you pay $130, right? I got the digital emulator. Now, are they going to do that for all the games that we have now, right? Down the road, is Starfield going to be an emulator on your browser? You know what I mean? Is Grand Theft Auto 4 going to be an emulator on your browser? I don't know. I just find it, people want physical copies, but less and less people are buying physical copies. And sure, if there's 20 people here and we all buy physical copies, then we are the minority of the majority. Or right, we're the majority in this section, but we're the minority in the larger picture. I waited for Metroid Prime to drop physical, even though it came out in the eShop a couple weeks earlier. Right. And look what's happening right now, right? People, to push people to buy games that are not even physical anymore, they give that extra, like, you get to play it a week early type of stuff, right? They make people buy the digital goods by pushing it a week early, right? Well, if you want to pre-order it now, and if you pre-order it, you get the digital copy and you get to play it early. I did the same thing playing it now, as never played Prime on GameCube, but I love it. Find the Switch different, though. Since you do not have to download the games, Xbox and PlayStation, you have to download them regardless. There's a Switch, you pop in the cartridge, and it's good to go. Right. Sold, take my money. Like early access, boss. Sold, take my money. Did you get to play it early? That's what they do now, right? That's how they push people to get the. They're like, oh well, we don't really want to sell physical copies, so let's do it like a week early. You pre-order it now, get the digital, and then you know what I mean. I understand what you're saying about the physical copy just being a key now, but I still enjoy them. Again, it goes all digital. I'm out. Period. I think the line's being blurred. There's not one game, Rose, that you could think of that you own that's not even. I mean, it's a key, but they're basically could just sell you a disc and it has nothing on it. You know what I mean? I mean, Destiny started that. It's a good strat. Oh yeah, it's definitely good for them. Yeah. I guess the conversation that it is like it's hard because I want physical copies, but then I got burned, right? Like I own Battleborn, and it's a goddamn coaster. That's all it is, right? I had issues when I bought Devastation digitally, and because the license got lost, I couldn't play it anymore, and I had to go out and buy the physical disc. So it goes, hey, yeah, he's got the disc, and then I have it. Sarge says it's called a bribe. When they say, look, no one buys physical copies, so we can make even less of them next time, right? But here's the benefits, right? They're selling you the benefits of, well, you don't have to, like the guy said in the article, he's disabled, so he doesn't have to get up and physically put the disc inside the thing, and that's a big thing. But that's such a small niche of people that can't do that, right? Not to say it's not a thing, but it is. It's a small niche of people. And they're like, oh, it's more convenient because you don't have to leave your house. But really what they're trying to tell you is, well, we make more money off each copy. We no longer have to ship it, put gas, shelf space, right? We don't lose money now on secondhand games because you can't sell it to another person or to GameStop, and then they don't make the money. Because if I own a game, then sell it to GameStop, and then Sarge buys that game, okay, they don't make that money again. They didn't sell a second copy of that game. So now they sell all the games that they have. So boss, you've never bought a used game before, ever. You've never bought a used game in your entire life. I mean, hell, I just bought a copy, boss, of Transformers Fall of Cybertron because nobody wanted to sell it to me. So I had to go out and find it because the companies don't want to sell it. If I couldn't go out and find it, then I couldn't play the game. I'm just shit out of luck. Right? Because you can't buy the game digitally. I just think we're going down a path that we're all screwed. All because we want to play a game early, or we don't want to leave the house. You're going to own nothing. They yank the plug and you lose all your stuff. I wonder how many people in a couple years, because we all have backlogs, right? They're just like, I never got to it. And all of a sudden they're shutting down the server. Done. Right, Rose. That's exactly right. Oh, I agree, boss. I agree. This is why I don't like the streaming service. How many of you guys go out and still buy songs for the music industry? Anybody go buy records? Anybody, not records. Anybody go out and buy DVDs or like, right? Who's listening to discs for music? Right? Are people still going to buy DVDs for movies? Right? Look at those sections, boss. You're a big movie buff, right? Right? You're a big movie buff. Go look at those sections. It's sad, right? When you go to like Target or you go to like Walmart or you go to Best Buy, man, it's so sad to look at the physical copies are just gone. It's almost like looking at the it's almost like looking at Netflix. They only show you like the top 10 things that people are interested in. So like when you go to Best Buy or Target, you go to the section, it's only like the new things. There's nothing like old to buy or anything. I buy Blu-rays. I have a collection. I have tons of DVDs. I stop at like 400 and something. I haven't bought a DVD. It's got to be almost a decade now. Give me 1 second. That's why Amazon is superior. Everything else is selling wise. CDs, I think last one I bought was 2014. Yeah, it's been a long time. Tons of CD records, old retro games, Blu-rays, DVDs in America. Yeah, we all have those little mom and pop places. I have a mom and pop place I still can get used games, not GameStop, like an actual like used game store or where they sell. Well, that's good. At least you still have those options though. Do you live in a big city, Rose? Do you live in a big city? Or I should say a non like rural area, I guess. Well, vinyls are making a comeback, but there's never going to be like what they were. You can always go. Like when I went to Austin, Texas recently, Austin, Texas has tons and tons of vinyl record stores. Here's another pro about being digital. Here's another pro about being digital, especially on Xbox, and I think you could do it on PlayStation as well. You buy it once, and if you have two systems, okay, you can literally just share it. Where if it was physical, you have to buy it twice. Why we like physical media? Chris, do you not like physical media? You like paying for stuff you don't own? Right. Oh, is my hold on one second. I gotta grab my dog. Give me 1 second. Chris B says, I think digital is better in every way, almost. Ownership is going away. I agree with that. Why is digital better in almost every way? So, like, in a hypothetical world, 10 years from now, Chris, all of a sudden, everything that you own right now on PlayStation or Xbox, all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We're just done supporting it, and they're completely gone. You're okay with losing everything that you spent your money on. We don't own music, movies, or TV shows anymore. But for $5 a month, I listen to almost any song ever recorded. Right. All right. Well, here's the thing. Go on to Netflix and try to find Blade Runner, or try to find Funny Farm. Try to find The Great Outdoors. Right? You won't find any of that stuff digitally. Right? You can't watch anything older than like 10, 15 years unless it's like super popular of what the thing is. Sometimes you can't buy them digital because the person that now licensed it to this organization doesn't have the rights to it, or that company doesn't exist anymore. I was like, Blade Runner and Funny Farm, both on Amazon Prime Video. Physical copies? Let me see. And you can rent it for $2.89. I prefer physical just to have it, but I want to play games the second they go live. So I get digital. Yeah, it's the convenience factor. Right, digital's never late. That's not true, boss. That's not true. How many times a brand new game comes out and you can't get in because the servers are down? Right? Game comes out opening weekend and no one can play it because we're all sitting in a queue. Doesn't matter if you have physical or digital. Just servers overload and you can't play the game. Well, I didn't blame Sony. I'm just saying that the game that you went to go buy, you can't play instantaneously because it's not working because of the queues. And Travis, to your point, a lot of movies though, you have to have the service. Instead of just owning the thing, walking up, grabbing it off your shelf, and then putting it in, you have to now go, oh, it's on Netflix, it's on Prime, it's on Peacock, it's on Disney Plus, it's on Hulu, whatever it is, right? And to get those things, right? To get those things, you don't know who owns what anymore. You don't own the thing anymore. You got to pay a service for that one thing. My GameStop opens at 9 p.m. every night, the day before the big release, so you can go to launch party. See, I wish our GameStop over here, and we live in a very populated area, they don't do it. They don't do it. I used to wait out there for hours and hours, right? Waiting for that midnight. I get there at like 7. Yeah, it's got to be the big ones. Like obviously Grand Theft Auto. They're probably doing something for Starfield, I would assume. But I don't know how that works, right? Because here's the thing. Let's take Starfield for an example. I don't know if they are, right? But I would assume because Starfield comes out a week early, and you have to get, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to get the digital copy to play it a week early. Or if you ordered it from Amazon, does it come a week early? If you pre-ordered, does it come that week early? And if that's the case, does GameStop sell it a week early for the pre-order? No, it releases officially on September 6th. Oh yeah, the Madden stuff, all those things, and just sitting in line talking to fellow gamers and stuff like that. It was fun. All right, I want to bring up an interview that was done this morning. Let's see if I can find it. It's good old Phil Spencer here. He talks about some stuff.
Is a busy job, but our next guest took time from his busy schedule to pay us a visit. Joining us here on Gamescom Studio, the head of Xbox himself, Phil Spencer.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. It's good to have you here on the set to talk about Xbox.
It's awesome to be here at Gamescom. I haven't been since 2017.
Really?
So yeah, were you here last year?
Nope, I skipped last year.
I am like just jazzed. It's so cool to see everybody, and it's fantastic to be at Gamescom. I guess the biggest consumer game show on the planet.
It's huge, yeah. You know what else was cool to see? That
What?
Starfield presentation that you and Todd introed a little bit ago.
It's all Todd.
Yeah.
I was there to intro Todd.
Yeah.
That's my job.
You were the setup guy.
I carry his bag and I intro him.
The day before, so
Starfield
September
was a
6th
huge
or
moment
August
for
31st,
Xbox, obviously.
Rose?
When is the last time Xbox has had a moment this big?
I think everything, every month, every time we're doing something that changes, hopefully enhances a customer's experience on Xbox is important. you think about big new IP that has launched on the platform, I might go back to like, like Gears 1, I don't know, like a game that is brand new IP. It's Todd's first game in the BGS team as part of Xbox launching on the platform. It's a big moment, and I'm proud that we were able to give them time, and really happy with the results. You have a build,
Yeah.
but you're not playing because you're working.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say about it, so I don't want to break embargo.
This is like I can't say that. I don't know what I can say, so I'm just staying quiet.
I have turned it on.
That's an embargo break. Like,
Oh no! Well, I'm blacklisted now. Oh well. Sorry, Todd. Baldur's Gate 3 is the talk of the town right now.
great game.
You know, this RPG comes along, kind of takes the internet by storm. Do you think it's set expectations for Starfield, or did it steal a little bit of the thunder?
Not early access. Okay. See, so stuff like that kind of like sucks it out of the room. You know what I mean, Rose? Because yeah, sure, a lot of people maybe don't pre-order it and whatnot, but it's like you're now standing in line for an event that people have already been playing for a week, so it's not really special anymore. You know what I mean?
I don't think it has anything to do with Starfield. I mean, great games coming out. It's a good thing for the industry. First, congrats to Larian and the team. I think it's like what, a 97 rated game or something. As somebody who finished the original Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, and what was the expansion for Baldur's Gate 1, Forgotten Shores or something? Like, I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan, and to see a team
Huge Boulder Gate fan. How come it's not on your system, Phil?
spend the time to make, I think, a true next iteration of a classic gaming franchise is always just great for the industry.
Speaking of next iterations, you know, Skyrim came out, what, 12 years ago? Just did the anniversary edition, and it's been supported by an amazing modding community.
Yeah.
Has the same thought been put towards Starfield and supporting it into the future?
Absolutely, and I don't want to disclose what the team has been thinking about, but obviously when you're BGS and you've seen the legs and the support that Skyrim gets even today, right, when you look at what the modders have done.
Hold on a second. I want to rewind. I want to rewind this question for a second.
It went, and I don't want to.
And it's been supported by an amazing modding community.
Yeah.
Has the same thought been put towards Starfield and supporting it into the future?
Absolutely, and I don't want to disclose what the team has been thinking about, but obviously.
How are they going to support it? Anybody feeling the vibes that I'm feeling? Doesn't want to disclose it. How are they going to keep supporting Starfield?
When you're BGS and you've seen the legs and the support that Skyrim gets even today, right, when you look at what the modders have done, it went into the thinking about what Starfield should be, and like proof will be out in terms of how people receive the game, but our hope is that it is another game that's around a decade plus longer, later after it launches, and people are still enjoying it.
I think the last time you were in the hot seat was over.
Is this the hot seat right now?
Yeah, the hot seat.
Okay.
Over here on IGN. But you were at our friends Kind of Funny and doing the XCast around the launch of Redfall.
Yeah.
Which, you know, was obviously problematic at launch. Have any internal processes or procedures been changed to make sure that sort of reaction or issue doesn't arise again?
Well, we're always learning in everything we do, no doubt about that. I would say that, and I've shared some of this, but with Redfall, it was more of us not using our internal processes that were in place already, just because of when integration happened. I'm not using COVID as an excuse, but you know, we did close the ZeniMax acquisition, and then everybody got sent home, and it was just not as easy as maybe some of the earlier companies, studios that we'd acquired in terms of integrating in our process, but that's all on us. So I'm not trying to deflect any of the criticism. But absolutely, anytime we launch anything, and we're going to learn from the launch of Starfield, we're going to learn from the launch of Forza, and we reevaluate our process, because we want to make sure we're exceeding customers' expectations with everything we do.
Yeah, I'm always sort of curious about that, like what causes that result? Like, is it the cert process? Is it like what wall is hit where that sort of stuff is missed? So
Duplis says not true. You own the game case. Duplis, are you behind? I think you're behind.
appreciate you being candid about it.
Yeah, and I'd say one of the things that was helpful for us with Starfield was our long working relationship with BGS, which you know well. Like if you go back to original Xbox, like in what we've done with those teams. So the relationship between Todd, BGS, and our platform team was just stronger than it was with Harvey, not because of, and the team at Arcane, not because of anything other than just relationships. Like we've just known them longer. So Todd brought in the team brought in the ATG group early to start working on Starfield, and that's on us. Like we should have done that with Arcane. We should have helped them more in the development process, and also just made it clear that shipping a first-party game has a different level of expectation. That it's not always true that every team that comes into being part of a first party is aware of when it launches. Feel great about where we are with Starfield. You know, we put out the review codes last week, so we're giving reviewers plenty of time.
That's true, Sarge. The literal devs came out and said, "Oh, do I still have the Magix thing up there? It's been up there for a while, huh?" That's true. It said that we didn't want to work on the game. We don't want to work on the game. Oh God, Microsoft bought us. Please make us stop playing this game or working on the game.
Spend time with the game, and I think all of that's just a sign of the confidence that we have.
You tricked me into breaking embargo. Thanks.
That's right. That's right. You're done. No. We do really appreciate people playing and giving us feedback. Like the build that you have, you know, it's not actually the final build. So we're always taking feedback and refining back in, and this is an important part of the process. So thank you for at least loading the game.
Oh, I played like an hour, but you know, I got an interview with Phil Spencer to plan for. Another game here, though, that we got to see BCD was Forza Motorsport.
Yes.
You're showing off the Italian track.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but big improvement graphically from what we saw at Summer of Gaming. I am curious, though, what are your thoughts on how Forza Motorsport sets itself apart?
I'll start with Turn 10. I think from the beginning of Turn 10, when that studio was formed, they've always been a technical showcase for us. A gentleman named Chris Tector is the tech architect for us there, and has just done a great job of getting everything out of the hardware. I'm a huge motorsport fan. I've been from the time we launched that, so I've been playing builds and seeing the progress that they've been making. And I think you're right. Like graphically, where they are right now, it's stunning. The game, what they're doing with ray tracing and other things. But I always love that Turn 10 is be able to start with motorsport, expand to Horizon.
That's normal, Salty.
Horizon's now kind of a top tier Xbox franchise. I think you can't argue about that. It's just the number of players.
Review copies are not the final build. Hence why people in their reviews say there's this problem. It's a day one patch coming out on day one. That's normal. Don't push the agenda of, oh well, Starfield's not. I mean, literally, Cyberpunk went out, and all these other all these other games have come out. Day one patch has been a thing for like, I don't know, 15, 20 years now.
That game builds, and their relationship with Playground and what they're doing with Fable. I mean, it's just been awesome to see how Turn 10, a studio that was literally just kind of homegrown within Xbox, has turned into such a force for us.
Got any teases for Fable, seeing you brought it up?
I'll let the team. I was actually on Project Ego, the first Fable that we launched, which I find some humor in. The code name was Project Ego with all the personalities involved. But it's nice to see the team kind of embracing what was Fable, the humor, the kind of choice and consequence and everything. So really looking forward to showing more.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the trailer you showed also.
Thanks.
During the last reveal. But going back to Forza, you actually dropped the number. So is Forza Motorsport becoming a service platform, or like what's with the change?
Yeah, the team service platform, I hesitate a little bit because I think there's a lot of loadedness in
Games
like what that means. I think what we see with Forza is the evolution of the experience as much about the tech as it is tracks and cars. And we know that when people make an investment in the game, they want to make sure we continue to support the game. And in some ways, when you put a numeral on the end of the franchise, it instantly says, okay, well now you need to move to like Forza N+1. And it's like, no, we want this to be a place that people feel like they can invest their time, they can invest their experience, and know that this is a place that we're going to be investing in Forza Motorsport for years to come.
You've had a ton of reveals. Avowed was revealed.
Yeah.
What else do I have on?
South of Midnight.
Perfect Dark, South of Midnight,
Yeah.
Hellblade, Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice. Can you tell us more about the rest of 2023 and beyond, and sort of like what that's looking like for Xbox?
What I can say is we're going to have more beats to talk about more of what we do because the content lineup is so strong. And I say that completely recognizing that 2022 wasn't so strong. But we have our biggest booth here at Gamescom, and we have a huge presence. I think there's like 30 plus playable games on our floor, a lot of first party games. Towerborn's here, Ara's here, obviously Forza. So like, it's awesome to see the footprint that we have in the game portfolio from our first party, from partners, from Game Pass, all of it. So I think what you're going to see from us, where maybe the last couple of years we've been more on an annual in terms of when we talk about our games around, I still call it E3, around the E3 timeframe. This year we did Developer Direct in January, we did our showcase. We're here in the biggest we've ever been at Gamescom, and you're going to see more regular times to talk about our games because the portfolio is deep enough that we can support that.
Matt Booty promised us 4.
Yeah.
Are you on track?
For this year?
Well, let's see specifically what he said. Yeah. 4
Hi-Fi.
first party per year.
More than that this year. If we start with Hi-Fi, Minecraft Legends, Redfall. Maybe people don't want to give us credit for Redfall. I get it, but I understand. Starfield, Forza. We just dropped Age 4 console last night.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to play that. And then going into next year, absolutely. Like we have talked about it as an aspiration. Now we talk about it as our plan.
Okay, got it. Big news, everybody. I don't know if you heard. Final Fantasy XIV is finally coming to Xbox.
I got to go to the show.
It was
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah.
I've been covering that story for like a decade. Like
Yeah.
since I started at IGN.
You've been a proponent for it.
Yeah, I've that.
Yeah, the racing games, Rose, I used to love racing games. I just played Forza Motorsport, whatever the last one was. My son downloaded the last one because he's excited for the new one because he plays Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon's fun. It's like, arcadey type of stuff. And then the next one, I just can only race a certain amount of things around a racetrack. You know what I mean? If you are a gearhead, I don't care what game you're playing. If you're playing Gran Turismo on PlayStation, if you're playing Forza, if you're playing Motorsports, if you're playing what's that other one? Dirt or whatever. Like if you're a gearhead and you like to fine tune the things and stuff like that, that's your game, man. That's the same thing I'll say for like people that like Hogwarts Legacy that are like Potterheads. Like that's their world. Any kind of car game comes out, they're all awesome looking for them. For me, I'm just kind of out on them. I play it for a little bit. I'm like, this is fun to go around, but I'm good.
Community is so welcoming. It's an amazing community.
Being there at the Final Fantasy Fan Fest thing was awesome. The first time I'd ever been. It's just incredible.
And they're stoked about it coming to Xbox.
And so is Yoshi, which is great.
Yeah. Now you hinted that other games.
Did I hint, or was it the CEO of Square that?
The CEO of Square.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I like how Phil's like, "Are you sure I said it?" Because people quote me, and I didn't say that.
Who was clear on who was hinting?
So where's Final Fantasy VII? Are we going to get 16? What does that mean?
I recognize that when people buy an Xbox, they want to make sure the great games that they want to play are coming. And if there's any publisher out there where that hasn't been true, Square is one of the top profiles. So, like Sarah Bond and I know, like fly to Tokyo, have conversations, and we've spent a lot of time with Square. There's obviously business deals and relationships that will have to get worked through on certain games, but I'll say it was really great to have the CEO of Square and Yoshi there to just talk about their commitment to Xbox, because I can say, like, I'm the head of Xbox, blah, blah, blah. But having the CEO of one of the third parties make a commitment to the platform, I thought was a really meaningful step. So you'll hear more. I'm not going to push them. Like, they're going to have to find their own rhythm. But having him make a commitment to Xbox was really important, both to me, and I've heard it from the community, to the community as well. And 14 was more of a commitment.
Yeah, you can tell me off the air, but we got to go right now. Phil, don't go anywhere. We're going to have a few more questions for you. Thank you for watching, everybody. For more on all things gaming, keep it right here at Gamescom with IGN.
All right, the next one I want to talk about or watch is the interview for the movie, because you guys know I'm in the movie industry. I love movies. And Rebel Moon, we saw the trailer yesterday. Zack Snyder's talking about it right before I started streaming. I started listening to his conversation. I was like, oh, I want to listen to the rest of this interview. Okay. And I'll give you my thoughts as he talks.
Zack Snyder and producer Deborah Snyder. Welcome to the IGN studio.
Awesome.
So cool to have you here. So last night, opening night live at Gamescom, you showed the trailer. I was fortunate enough to be there, so I got to look at it. Looked very cool. I think we'll be bringing that up in just a moment. But let's begin at the beginning. Rebel Moon was famously an idea for Star Wars. What changes have you?
That right there is what I heard in the beginning before I went live. I went, wait a minute. Because yesterday when we watched Rebel Moon's trailer, I went, this looks like Dune. This looks like Star Wars. This looks like... The worst part about this is he was supposed to do a Star Wars movie with Kathleen Kennedy. Like Zack Snyder was supposed to do a movie. And then it fell through. And then he decided to do his own Star Wars-esque movie. And during this interview, they just keep comparing Rebel Moon to Star Wars, which is like the worst possible thing you could do. Before Disney bought it, to compare it to Star Wars, you're putting a lot of pressure on your film. And now you're comparing it to Star Wars after Disney bought it, which is just an absolute, like, trash fire.
Have you been able to make now that it's no longer tied to an existing universe?
Well, it was an evolution anyway. You know, like when we started working on the idea, before even it was a Star Wars movie in my mind, it was, you know, a put a team together movie. It was. I'm a huge fan of. There's an adult illustrated fantasy magazine called Heavy Metal that I always was in love with. Just the tone of that really was inspirational to me. Even when I was in the early talks with
Take a
Kathleen
shot every
Kennedy
time he
about
says,
maybe making a Star Wars movie, I would say things like, maybe it could be rated R, you know, and and they would say, yeah, no, that's crazy. So I do Jimmy's.
Where's the white doves?
And yeah, he plays one of what a pretty kind of typical battle robot in this world. The only thing that's interesting about these robots is that after the king and
Yeah, but Anthony Hopkins is not in the film. He's the voice of a robot.
are killed, and the queen are killed, the robots whose initial sort of purpose was to protect the royal family, they kind of don't know what to do themselves, and so they end up kind of becoming these sort of conscientious objectors. They don't really fight anymore. And so there's like this whole journey of discovery that Jimmy's on, that Anthony Hopkins robot is on. But he's like one of many, like he's like this one of many robots that would kind of be in this same moral quandary that he's in.
Can you tell us more about the Imperium, the sort of like evil empire at the center of
They keep comparing it to Star Wars. They literally keep comparing it to Star Wars.
Rebel Moon?
Yeah, so the mother, affectionately we call the Mother World, and their forces are an ancient civilization that have, over the years, sort of been led by a single king or line of kings.
If Zack Snyder walked in and pitched this to me, I was an executive, I would be like, get out. Get out.
And they sort of have used up all the resources on their own planet and then basically set off into the stars and basically have been collecting and expanding for thousands of years.
Interesting. Sophia Boutella leads the Warriors as Korra.
Yeah.
How'd you end up casting Sophia? What was it like working with her?
Sophia's amazing. I had her in mind really from the beginning.
Very
I would
much
tell
so.
Debbie about, I really wanted Sophia to be.
Whole, because her character is so complex. She's also the heart of the film, but she also, the physicality required to do the role is just, it was so important to us that it was believable that she was this like amazing warrior. And she has a dance background.
Right.
And incredibly, like, she learned all the choreography so quick, and she wanted to do all of the fighting herself, and she did, other than one, we were going to throw her character off the side of a scaffolding, and we were all like,
So
that's
brave.
not really safe for you to do. She wanted to do it, but everything else she did all her own fighting.
Interesting. So Rebel Moon has been announced. It's going to be a two-parter. What was the reasoning behind that? And do you
What was the reason to have a two-parter? Money. Next
know
question.
the total runtime of them both put together?
movie 2 we're still
working on.
cutting, so I don't know the exact run time, but they're about 2 hours each.
Gotcha.
The movies themselves, right around 2 hours. I think movie 2 is under 2 hours. Right
Travis, that's his wife.
But what was the first part of the question?
Well, just what was the reasoning, the thinking behind that? Is it just because you needed more time to?
Oh, yeah. So I had written a pretty long script, 200-page script, and the cool thing about Netflix was there's when I said, maybe maybe a way to go is to just break it into 2 movies because for sure I could cut it to 1, but
For sure I could cut it for 1, but I needed 2 because, why not?
it's going to kind of make the movie very sort of by the numbers, when you get that.
I couldn't tell my story within the 2-hour time frame, so I had to elongate it and put a lot of slow motion in it. So I made it into 2 separate films with a lot of slow motion in it.
Especially a movie like this that's sort of genre specific, like we know the mission, got to put the team together, you got to prepare for battle and then fight them. Not that that's what's going to happen, but that becomes kind of obvious. And then when you really put the screws to something like that, the beats become really set in stone, and there's not a lot of room to move around. And I think by letting it be 2 movies, it really let us kind of have a lot more character and a lot more worlds to visit and just be more overall exotic and unexpected.
Well, now you mentioned, you explained at Opening Night Live last night, there's a Rebel Moon game also coming from Super Evil Megacorp, developer of the very good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate game, which is on Apple Arcade. I recommend it. Anything else you can tell us about the game of Rebel Moon?
Well, one thing I could say about it is that the
One thing I can say about it is it's a game.
guys over there have been incredibly reverent and faithful to the source material, and they've been incredibly inclusive and really want to talk with me constantly about mythology and about the canon and about the world. And so I would say that though it, as a game, it really will expand sort of the mythology of the universe, and not, even though it's definitely sort of an add-on to the universe I didn't expect.
Right,
It was a
the
cool
source
place
material?
where we
Yeah.
thought to explore other things that are happening in the
Will
Rebel Moon
Batman
universe.
be in Rebel
And,
Moon?
The guys have been great.
That'd be great.
I
Is
say,
Batman
"Guys,
in
we
your
can't- we
Rebel
can't
Moon?"
do-" we can't do that, and then they'd come back. Well, what about this? And so we were really, I think, able to land on something that was really world building, but also consistent with the world. So that was fun.
Very cool. Well, we're here at the world's biggest gaming convention, so I have to ask you, is there any gaming property that you both think would make a great movie?
They're like, we've never played video games before. He looks at his wife and she's like, I don't even know what video games are.
There are so
Well, there are a lot.
What an awkward question to ask people that, come on, man. Why would you set them up like this?
I mean, we've talked about a bunch of, Gears has always come up, in sort of our circle.
Interesting.
And I was a fan of the game.
They've checked out. She's got the fake smile on. He's trying to bullshit his way through. The dude that's interviewing him is in an awkward position now. We're all laughing.
So,
Fantastic.
I mean, off the top of my head, that one. I was always interested in the Halo franchise, so that was something that I'd always, and they, of course, kind of made that, but it was something I always thought could be incredible.
What do you say, Kier?
Well, thank you both so much. I'm really excited to watch Rebel Moon when it premieres on Netflix later this year.
Awesome.
so
Thank you so
much.
much. This is great.
Thank
So
you.
fun.
As soon as they stand up and walk off camera, like, oh, fuck did he ask the question for like that?
Viewers, you can take your...
No, that's not her face, Travis. Believe me. I did this for many, many years with many people interviewing and a lot of things. That is a 100% fake smile. You're on camera, you just go... Oh, thank you so much. Yes. But what they're actually saying behind their eyes is, I want to effing kill you for asking that question.
First step into a larger world when Rebel Moon premieres on Netflix December 22nd. In the meantime, stick around for more
Look how
Gamescom Studio right here
uncomfortable
on
she
IGN.
looks on that couch. They went to Gamescom, Titan, because they're sponsor or not sponsoring. They're promoting their film. The biggest scene. You see how awkward he looked like on stage yesterday? That's Alan Wake. What else we got? Hellboy.
I mean, Hellboy gets pretty weird, and this should get pretty weird too because it's a roguelike, which has a certain amount of, randomized elements to it. I'm curious, sort of, with each round, what stays the same and what changes?
So Hellboy himself, he can upgrade some of his abilities, and also how strong he is, for example, how resilient he is. Also, he has weapons and charms that he can take into the word with him, and he can augment those.
Like literally yesterday when he's on stage, he's like, "We also have a game. We have a game. Game's coming out. It's not in development or anything right now, but we're talking about it."
As well, so there's a little bit of customization for each of your runs that you get to do, and that's the roguelike element that comes to it. Also, with exploration as well, we wanted to capture the moments in the comics where Hellboy doesn't know exactly what's around every corner. We didn't want you to learn the levels and become better in that way. We wanted you to still feel that there's a level of discovery each time you descend into the word itself.
Nice. Now, there's some very cool creatures that we saw in action. Are there any sort of returning creatures from the comics that we should know about?
We're very lucky that we had a blank slate in that for that, and that also meant that we were free in a way to come up with characters that work for the game, if that makes sense. Very much, and also feel like, say for example, the BPRD members, that these are characters who also, work and would be there in the comics maybe.
I would say it's always good when these things work completely independently. The more you try to connect them, the more trouble everybody has with, does this character appear, in the comic, or is it, it doesn't quite jibe with the comic, stuff. So it's nice that Hellboy has a lot of room around him to create new cast of characters.
I hate that, personally. If you're gonna use, here's the one thing I'll give to the last interview, right? At least that he had an idea, and they, instead of taking Star Wars and then turning it into what you wanted to turn it into, he decided to make his own film to try to make it like Star Wars, right? He made a new IP who tried to make it something. I hate when people use whatever it is and then can try to completely change it, because why are you making a Hellboy game in the first place if you're not going to follow what Hellboy is? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're going to make Hellboy the video game. Huge fan base on Hellboy, right? Whatever, the people that like Hellboy. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, no, we had a wide open slate. We didn't make it anything like the comics or anything, so we just made our own stuff.
Now, the aesthetic
Then why did you make a Hellboy game?
for this game is one of the most striking things about it. The cel-shaded look feels just totally like perfect with your art style. Was it like this when they showed it to you, or was there ever like a version that had more gradient? Did you give them notes on how to make it really have that Mike Mignola look?
No, I mean, I believe the first thing I saw was very much like this. I have no idea how many.
Well, that's the opposite though, Chris. They're not cashing in on it. When people take an IP or a brand that people well know, and then they shit on it, basically, people are like, "This is not." They're trying to get the old customers back in. I'm not talking about old like age-wise. I'm talking about just people that are fans of the original material or whatnot. And then, because they want to use that fan base to be like, oh yeah, this could be really good because we'll bring it in. And then all the people that love it are going to come to the thing, and then they'll bring people and we'll get new people. But the problem is the old people are like, yeah, no, because we can smell bullshit. And then the new people are not enough to make it successful, or they actually don't care about the character.
Iterations it went to before they showed it to me, and historically I am not a fan of people trying to imitate my work, but what struck me so much with this was not that they just got the surface detail of what I do, but the feel, the mood. It was clear that they had analyzed not just, oh, these 5 lines is what he uses to draw a knee, but the whole movement and mood, and they understood why I was doing what I was doing.
Why does it sound like when people talk about their games, they don't even believe what they say? They're like grasping for things to like in the interview. Like if you're passionate about something, you talk about it.
Now, I feel like with cel-shaded games, they often have this wonderful, like, high contrast look, but then they get a little bit fancy and throw in, like, particle effects or, like, too many shaders or something like that. Was there ever an iteration of this game where you were playing with that, or was it always the mission to kind of commit to this, like, just dark, stark shadow look?
There have been challenges. There's obviously what Mike does in 2D doesn't wholesale work with 3D. There's certain tricks in video games that you can do to convey depth of field, and we had to sort of sidestep that in terms of
Exactly, Water. Right? I literally talk about gaming stuff all day, and I could do it all day. I'm not reaching and grasping for things. You guys think I have like a script in front of me when I talk? No, I'm just talking because I love, like, and I just grab as much information as possible.
how we created environments.
So, I don't want to be too much of a downer here, but this is one of Lance Reddick's final roles. He's portraying Hellboy. Incredibly talented guy. How would you say his portrayal compares to David Harbour or Ron Perlman's version, or the version in your head?
None of them match the version in my head because the version in my head is so abstract. It's just my voice. So I was a huge fan of Lance's work. When they told me that Lance was going to do it, I was very excited. It was not something I would have thought of, but it worked like crazy. He was a different Hellboy, but he was Hellboy. I've never been able to say, oh, this guy should be Hellboy or that guy should be Hellboy. So it's always exciting to me to see people bring their own version of Hellboy, because I can't tell you what Hellboy's supposed to sound like. He's a fictional character. He lives inside my head. It's very odd when he gets out there and he's made of other people.
Well, I love it. I feel like he has a deep voice. I don't really see him as being much of a falsetto, but
And Lance is just such a wonderful character actor. I mean, I always think of him as like the character in John Wick or something like that, and there's an elegance to him which I would never associate with Hellboy. So it was, fortunately, I got to watch him, record, and it was just great to see the range that Lance has, and how enthusiastic he was about getting it right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward to Hellboy, the Web of Word. Word. Anyway, we've got lots more Gamescom Studio coming up. See you around.
Unbelievable sometimes these people. What else we got here? We can watch this. Let's see what this is.
Each day live on YouTube and Twitch.
It's a lot. The biggest video game event on the planet also cares about the planet. This year, Gamescom Goes Green initiative has made some huge leaps forward on one
Continues to offset
openingnightlive.org.
But
here they come.
This was fun. I'm gonna lower it just a bit.
We are preparing an airstrike. Can you hold the enemy in place until it hits?
Consider it done. Here they come.
Looks like Fallout power armor.
Reloading weapons. Focus on taking down the heights. Do not relent in your attacks. We are wasting time. Proceed through the gates. Need victory. Never seen orcs do that.
Exactly, Sarge.
Go for the next one.
Ships have free reign unless we get those pencils open.
Yeah, that looks fun. No date still. No date.
Welcome back to Gamescom Studio, powered by IGN. Are you sick of your corporate job? Are you burnt out and needing a serious change of environment? Well, look no further, because joining me today are Regina Reisinger and Philip Seyfried from Microbird. Welcome.
What are they selling?
I'm so excited to talk about this game. So, we talk about how this character is a burnt out lawyer, right?
As a place and
you can hang out with colorful
Burnt out lawyer.
It's Gamescom. Seth Macy here from IGN. I am joined by Andre Chan, executive producer at Level Infinite. Andre, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. We are here to talk about Assassin's Creed Jade, the real name of Assassin's Creed Jade. Andre, hit us.
Well, Assassin's Creed Jade is official name right now. So we dropped the code name, and now it's Assassin's Creed Jade officially.
Assassin's Creed, been around forever. It's been
That's
all
very
around
lackluster.
The world. Very memorable settings.
What's the name of your game?
In Jade, who are we going to be playing as? What areas are we going to be exploring?
So in Jade, you're creating and customizing your character from the scratch for the first time in the series. But you will still be playing as a wandering hero and in ancient China setting. We're not yet assassins, because assassins didn't exist at that timeline, but we're proto-assassins.
Enjoying it? 164 hours.
So it's 230 BC before Christ, and
I think it is a mobile game.
This is a time where Qin Dynasty established the first empire in China. This is the time when they started building the Great Wall, then the Terracotta Army, very, very famous.
All right, drum roll, please. The new name is just exactly what everyone calls it. It's now Jade.
Over the world. And also, this is the time when the Proto-Silk Way established.
Oh, okay.
So this is a fascinating time to showcase, because there's a lot of Chinese culture to showcase in the game, and also very famous points of interest and landscape landmarks.
Every Assassin's Creed the attacks are really influenced on the time period, the setting. How has the ancient Chinese setting really affected this?
Yeah, we'll be featuring very traditional Chinese weapons. For example, everyone has swords, every culture, but Chinese swords are a little bit different. And they have very unique style and design, and also a very unique technique they use to fight with these swords. Also, spear will be a big part of the game too. A lot of very specific, not only weapons, but also the combat techniques.
How has being on mobile affected the scale of the games? Because, Assassin's Creed games pretty famous for their scale.
Being on mobile probably made this game huge.
Really?
So it will be huge, and will be expanding with each update, and in each closed beta we have in future, we will also introduce big chunks of these regions. And there is also a lot of systems in the game, like progression systems, a lot of content, points of interest. This game will be huge.
Man, these people talk really so
mundane. For 20 minutes. I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work on a mobile phone.
Our game's going to have so much stuff. It's going to be big things. We're going to have big DLC. We're going to keep putting stuff in it. Very exciting. It's like, holy Christ. Are they this dead inside?
Phone. So since not everyone else has played, could you sort of explain how the controls work? Because they really get the job done well. Like, it feels everything you would expect in an Assassin's Creed game is there.
So controls is like easily top 2 or top 3 most difficult things we had to do.
Oh wow, okay.
Making this game. Yeah, because
he's having like PTSD talking about the control and how hard it was.
There is a certain experience Assassin's Creed fans expect from Assassin's Creed game, and we cannot really skip that. We cannot skip assassinations, parkour, finishing moves, all that stuff. And we had to adopt all of these features while having a touchscreen controls.
Since this is on mobile, has the mission design changed?
I think the missions and the storyline, we really wanted to be very close to what Assassin's Creed fans expect from Assassin's Creed titles. What really changes is because it's a live game that we will introduce more.
I just say, I just had PTSD. Watch the camera move, right? You're never supposed to do this during an actual interview. Like, the director is supposed to tell you like when to switch. So if there is a one camera setup, you have the camera, they switch to B-roll, and then you go in for the tight shot, and then when you come back out and vice versa, look at this.
Assassin's Creed fans expect from Assassin's Creed titles. What really changes is because
never do that. Never do that.
It's a live game that we will introduce more engagement features, like something you can do outside of the main quest, that's outside of the main story, and more like session-based.
Right now is when you switch. Right now is when you switch to the other side. So after this B-roll, right, you should come back to a two-shot.
Game modes, for example. One of the examples which is available and was available in CBT was the game mode Defend the Wall, Hold the Wall.
Okay.
Where you and your friends in a co-op mode, you need to
I swear to
defend
God,
the
if he
wall
zooms
from
out.
the nomads from Shangu,
Or does this-
and light the beacons to make sure the wall is protected.
Tim, focus on the dead.
Like a small session.
Focus
where
on
you
the
just
guy
gather
with
your
no,
friends,
with just dead inside.
Play it really fast and get out.
Very cool. Where does this fit into the wider Assassin's
Oh my
Creed
God.
universe?
This
We're
is
still
a
moving.
proper Assassin's
How much time do you
Creed
need,
storyline,
man?
which is part of the overall Assassin's Creed world and canon. So we're working together to make sure that we're still inside the lore. And also we're having some of the characters from the other franchises, so we need to be extremely careful.
Oh, okay.
Extremely careful in implementing our story.
Yeah. All right, cool. And will this be free to play and supported with like in-game purchases, or how is this going to be presented to people?
It is free to play.
Free to play mobile game. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Probably it will support.
Look at his eyes when he says it. Now you need the close up. Now you need the close up on him. Watch his eyes.
Will this be free to play and supported with like in-game purchases, or how is this going to be presented to people?
Deep breath in.
It is free to play.
Now he's looking for answers.
Probably.
He's got a smirk on his face. Eyes roll up in the top of his head.
It will support in-app purchases, though this system it's like in very, very early design. We really want to nail the other features like iconic Assassin's Creed features, storyline, controls. This
Can't,
is our
people.
major
This camera
focus
guy
right
is
now.
killing me.
What I can tell is we have a design principle that storyline, content, all the future updates to the storyline and content should be playable for free without investing any money.
Gameplay first, and then we'll figure out how to pay for it.
Pretty much, yes.
Very cool.
We just wrapped our CBT 1. We got a lot of feedback, and we are working on addressing this feedback, and we're targeting to have our CBT 2 very soon. So register and join us to play the game.
And where can people register?
And Assassin'sCreedJade.com.
That's the official name now. So
official name.
Right on. Well, Andre, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was
Did they just pay a guy $5 to operate the camera?
Assassin's Creed Jade. I'm Seth Macy. This is IGN. We're at Gamescom all week. There's tons of stuff to see, so keep it right here at IGN.
Now, a lot of indie games make you think outside the box, but this next one is more about thinking outside the books. Here to tell us about the puzzle adventure, The Plucky Squire, please welcome James Turner. Welcome to the IGN studio here.
Thank you.
So, Plucky Squire, this is a game about storybook
Oh,
characters.
see, this is a
partially
three-camera
takes
setup.
place in storybooks.
This is a 3-camera setup. Sorry, I'm getting into this because it's bugging the shit out of me. This is a 3-camera setup. So you got the center camera that's on a device that's moving back and forth to give that little movement. or you have a jib. It might be a 4-camera setup, right? Because they might have a crane shot or whatever. Then you have a camera on him, and then you have a camera on the other guy.
But they can also leave the storybooks and adventure in the real world. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yes, yes.
Yeah, sort of tell us what the whole idea of the game is.
So the idea is that you play as the hero of a storybook, and the book is all about them.
Well, the best
But
part,
there's a
this
villain
camera right
who
here
is kind of
is moving by
resentful of the
itself.
fact that the hero gets all the limelight, and they.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Lone Dragon. The butt of everybody's jokes. He needed something that'd make him special. Cooler. Better. Classier. And when he found it, he went all in. But he wanted more. 'Cause Vassie's ambition knew no limits. So he kept hunting. After all, had the Endless lifted the Draken so they could be average? Hell no. And he was gonna show him. A true Draken only stops at perfection.
I was not expecting this.
Vassie's shift is just getting started. Something special from a friend.
3-player co-op?
Never a good idea to tick off the bartender.
This is like that other game that we played on the Epic Games. What was it called? Like Space Punk or something like that? Almost looks like Endless Dungeon as well. On every platform across the board. Oh, that is Endless Dungeon. Well, there you go. I was like, hey, that looks like Endless Dungeon.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Do you have fun?
I haven't seen Endless Dungeon in quite some time, so. Right, it looked like what it is.
Here since a long time now, but he has never lost hope, and he's looking for a place that will bring him home. And Alone, she is the girl with the goggles and the helmet, so she is.
I like
Lo's
the art
best
style of
friend,
this game.
and she's also.
I've never played
Tinkerer,
Little
and
Nightmare.
she's very curious, trying to find new secrets about the places that they will visit.
And you've added a very, very much requested feature, which is co-op. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, indeed. So co-op was one of the mostly asked feature from our community. So we're already happy that
Yeah, it's
we
not
can
turn-based.
implement it in
Kuda
the
Papa.
Atlas 3. So,
Endless Dungeon's not
in
a
the game,
turn-based
you'll
game.
be able to play in online co-op with a friend. We also have a friend's pass, meaning that you only need one copy to play with a friend.
That's awesome. And does it has split screen or is it just online?
No, it will be online. We wanted to implement it that way because we think that split screen doesn't fit with the universe of Little Nightmares. We really want to keep that immersion like that.
Is it split screen? No, it's not split screen due to the Xbox Series S. No, that's not true. That's not what she said.
Atmospheric feeling that you will have.
Now, it looks like the characters can collect items. Can you tell about how that sort of fits in with the puzzles and how it goes with the theme of the game? And I guess any other new mechanics that they have.
Yeah, so that will happen sometimes in the game. You will be able to collect an item, use it for solving some puzzles, and then you will have to let it go. But the players will also have 2 new items. Each have their own. So Lo has the bow and arrow, and Alone has the wrench.
Yeah, Endless Dungeon comes out in October.
Them, in order to create more puzzles and to promote like cooperations between the player and if you are playing in single player, between the player and the AI.
In terms of tone, can you set the stage a little bit and tell us about the setting of Little Nightmares 3?
Yeah, so in terms of tone, like each chapter will be very different. Each chapter has its own atmosphere, its own story, on enemies, and so you will be able to go through each of them, but they are all part of the same place in the nowhere. So the nowhere is the place where Little Nightmares games.
I mean, visually,
So
this looks really
all
good.
of the locations of Little Nightmares 3 are in the spiral, which you will be able to discover.
Now, we got to look at some gameplay from the...
How come side scrollers everywhere are not freaking out, going, "Oh my god, this is next level. You can't expect us to do this." Like, these graphics look phenomenal for this type of game.
Is it the city of the dead? It's kind of like a desert setting.
Yeah, the place that you can see in the gameplay is the Necropolis. So
I wonder what engine they used for this.
In that place, it was before the place where the Dweller were living. But then the Monster Baby arrived, and well, she made the city what it is now. So you can see that there are some statues around. You can see that it is now very quiet, except from the beetles that will attack you.
Now, the first two games are very, like, there's a lot of gloom and shadows, and it's very, kind of what people think of when they think.
We're gonna say that all the time now, Salty. When we first put a game in, we gotta look at the start screen. We gotta label it. Out of 10, what's the start screen?
More conventional nightmares, but from what we've seen in the Necropolis, it's very bright. Like
Vandal, what did Max do to you?
Can you tell us a little bit about the
I mean, I know he's a smartass and stuff, but did he do something personal to you?
Matching that sort of expected kind of vibe of the game while it's still in broad daylight.
Yeah, so in the Necropolis, it was a challenge to have like a desert and like some light, much more light than what we have seen before. But at the same time, to keep what is the atmosphere and the DNA of the Little Nightmares games. So what we have done is that we have used a lot the environmental storytelling. So you can see bags all around, you can see stuff going on, and then that plus the music and the general atmosphere.
Start screen tier level videos will start. We're starting flooding YouTube. Yeah, I bet you they will.
Chapters of the
if you look at YouTube, all the people that posted screenshots of other load screens,
some different places
or start screens,
different locations that will show more.
Nice. Now, at this point, we kind of have a clear idea of
not
what
YouTube,
a
Twitter.
Little Nightmares
Sorry.
game is. I guess I'm curious what the sort of internal
right, Travis,
philosophy is. Like, what are the pillars of a Little Nightmares game? Like, what are the sort of, are there any rules that you can't break in terms of making this game? Like, you can't just turn it into like a full-on, like run and gun platformer or something. I guess how do you change the gameplay while still keeping it, true to the core idea?
Yeah, so Little Nightmares games have like main pillars, which are the darkness, the dystopian aspect of the society in general. And
did I see him on Twitter last week? No, I don't follow him. Why? What did he do?
A light of hope. So we really want to keep these three main elements across the different games, and that's what we are doing in Little Nightmares.
Nice. Now, some exciting news here is that Supermassive Games is working on this, and that's a studio that has an incredible track record making, I guess what I call much larger nightmares, big cinematic, realistic horror games. Can you talk a little bit about how the team's prior experience has affected Little Nightmares 3?
Yeah, so it's great working with Supermassive Games. They have an extensive knowledge of horror in general, but they also understand very well and very deeply the franchise. Like, they are all really passionate about it, and they worked hard in order to get into it and to like use their knowledge from previous games. And so that goes from the horror, but also the fact that they implemented like multiplayer in the previous games in order to like bring them into the franchise with their own eyes.
They use Unreal Engine.
Cool. Now, fans have done a lot of sort of digging and picking apart of Little Nightmares, and I like that there's just a lot of mystery to it. Can you just kind of blow some of that mystery away and tell us where Little Nightmares 3 takes place on the timeline, sort of chronologically?
Not really. Like, it's something we really want the player to figure out by themselves, like where we are in the timeline, and so we want them to dig into that.
Now, there have been, in addition to the 2, soon to be 3 console games and the mobile game, there have been some comics, and now there's going to be a new sort of transmedia experience, which is going to add to the universe. It's just audio only, is that right?
Yeah, it is a podcast. Yeah.
The podcast they're coming out with. Okay, let's see what else they got.
But their patience is finally paying off.
And one mullet.
Badass moderator to take care of our butts. Especially our prices. Destroy these damn robots!
school anime action.
Why do I feel like this is like a game based off of Dr. Disrespect? I mean, I know it's not Dr. Disrespect, doesn't look like Dr. Disrespect, sort of it does, without the mustache, but it feels like it's taking what his persona is.
Mullet Mad Jack.
Mullet Mad Jack.
Wish list now.
Hold on one second. Kind of.
Wish list now.
Stalker fans have long awaited a new entry into the Stalker franchise, but their patience is finally paying off. Here to tell us about Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is Yevgeny from GSC Game World. Thank you so much.
He put out a IGN video, upcoming games coming out on all platforms, and somehow forgot Xbox on all trailers. Someone corrected him, and he came back with the most smug and passive comments ever. I would have to see it to see the context of it.
So much for joining us today.
Thank you. Yes.
I put a call out on Twitter asking what people want to know about Stalker 2, and you know, right now the team is obviously dealing with the war in Ukraine. It's had a huge impact on development, not just for the game, but on the people working on it. So everybody wanted to know, how is the team, and then how are they feeling now that the game is out here for the public to play?
Well, it's a good question. So the team feels very different.
That dude rocking that bowl cut from like my childhood.
Mostly all of our team are Ukrainians who some of the team members left the country before the war starts, because we realized that it may happen and we want to keep everyone safe. And our main motivation was to save everyone, so we are thinking we're gonna move everyone to the safe place, and then we will decide what to do next. And we propose everyone to get their bags and travel. We have a plan.
He's the fifth Beatle.
Long before.
I used to have a haircut like that when I was a kid.
A lot of buses standing with drivers 24 hours, 7 days per week, who were standing near the office. So in case that would happen at some point, everyone knows where to go to see it and to move. But that was the time when we realized that it's gonna happen just before it happens, and we had a chance to move a little bit earlier, and it.
We're trying to say, Quintar.
So for me,
I can't
was
rock that.
already out of the country, and for me it was very different from how it felt with the guys who left there, and it's. It's frightening. It's.
I don't know why you would ask a question like this at a game show or at a game event.
War, so you're in country. There a bomb can come and blow everything. At some point, you become used to it.
Like, this is something you ask him off camera, right? Because you have no idea. You have no idea if this is going to trigger him, because something horrific could have happened to him, right? So it's just a little weird that he asked a question like this on camera.
And it become normal. So it's strange to say, but for many of us, the normal is when bombs fly, it's okay. Someone died, it's not okay, but...
He's a developer from Ukraine. So he's asking him, is everyone okay over there? So then obviously... To ask that question, right? Sure, you're bringing it in, but are you asking for sympathy buys? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is the way it works. It's like you're asked a question like this to promote Stalker. He's there to promote Stalker regardless. But now you asked him a question that could be really personal to him, because you don't know what happened over there to him or his family or his friends. And now he's opening up on TV where all he was supposed to do was just talk about Stalker.
And it's totally different, and doing the game it helps a lot because we can focus on bringing something to this world.
Right? It could have been exactly, Chris. He asked the question and he was like, "Yeah, it's hard, but we're all working through it or whatever," and then just continued going on. No, he literally asked the question
to bring some art, experience, a story, and that's what drives us and make us feel better and happy at some points. And it's helped everyone in our team to become stable and move forward. Some part of our team goes to the army to defend. That was their decision. So they
It's like you only have 5 minutes to promote your game.
They don't have any fighting experience, but they want to stand there and to protect us. And we honor them, we love them for that, and it's super cool. But it's totally, it's, but still we are
The dude's about to cry. Why would you ask a question like this?
making games, and it's something that we're gonna do for, I guess, all the life, because it's the best job ever. I can't find any job better than that. But the situation is very calm.
How do you transition from this? I want to see how Destin transitions from this. How do you go from consoling a person to Stalker?
It's very simple from point of view that there is a bad guys, there is a good guys, and there is no way to feel it in some different way. And so for us it's very simple, but it's very frightening and not okay about that. It feels like okay already.
Well, I can't even imagine what the team is going through, what you're going through, but it does make me feel a little better to hear that you find solace in or comfort in developing the game and working on the game as a team. So everybody just wanted to know how you're doing, so I really appreciate the candid answer very much. Talking
Now to
about
gaming.
the game, it's been
Good transition by him.
10 years, so what would you want to tell the audience about Stalker 2 and how to set their expectations for what they're going to be experiencing in this?
It's a good transition, though, the way he got out of it.
This is a very good question, because what we can see now from the players, the expectations of what do they expect from the game, what kind of the game they
should have never asked that question.
Is very important, because they face the real game, what we did, and not what player imagined, and it become frustrating if you're not
Salty. He got out of it pretty good. It was a good transition.
On the expecting not the right game what we're doing, but so it's happened to everyone I see when
should have never been there, but got there.
Expectations like a players, so they just start and forget about what they think the Stalker 2 is and start to play what they see. They become,
I don't know. Question got to be asked. Got to be curious. What does his emotional attachment to family members that potentially could have been dead and coworkers dead at a game at a game convention promoting his game? I understand it's about his what's happening over there, but this is like a lighthearted thing. This is not CNN or Fox News. You know what I mean? Just coming over, hey, upbeat. I know all the stuff that's happening over there, but you guys are pumping out Stalker. What would you like to talk about, right? Like you don't ask a question like that. This is not like hardball.
Good.
Like at this point, you're talking about Stalker, and now it's like a sympathy thing. Like these people made the game Stalker. This man's family or coworkers died. Thanks for watching.
Start They start investigating, discovering.
It raises awareness. I'm not even going to go into this.
What's there, what the mechanics, how it plays. This game is totally different from other games, and I know that everyone can say this about their game, but for us, it's very hard to find something close as experience, because it's very different genres, and there is a big open world games with huge maps and different settings, but there is no so big games in Chernobyl, a realistic modern setting with a lot of science fiction, a very deep and non-linear story, so it's very heavy on plot and non-linearly.
Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah.
I am curious, did you end up gameplay mechanic-wise leaning more into a military sim style gameplay?
We don't plan to do it military style, so we don't think that Stalker is about military. It's about a regular human whose life somehow leads that this person want to go to the zone and find something there from himself, and it's very different from everyone who goes to the zone. I mean, the stalkers who are there and the players who play as a stalker, and we wanted to give the experience and feeling how you could feel in real life, because the Chernobyl zone and Stalker map is very close to what you can find actually in real place. So
did you go to the real place? Actually?
Exactly, Sarge.
There
exactly.
A lot, and it's very important to do this game, and this one of the.
I'm sure the person that's working on the game wants to bring all the bad things that happen, right? Right? So it's like years later, months later, something tragic happens to you or your family member, and someone in an interview is going to bring it up before talking about the things that you're trying. He probably works every day to get away from that shit. I don't know. Just a thought.
Most beautiful places in the world. I don't think there is somewhere else a place like this where it is a town that's become abandoned in like one day, when all one who live there, they just have to be evacuated without taking any clothes, anything, and it's.
Well, Chris, at that point, you can't do that. You asked the question. You can't all of a sudden bail out of it, right? You asked the question. He thought asking that question, the guy would be like, "Yeah, it's tough. You know, we worked around a lot of things," and it would have been a quick answer. But he literally, you saw. I'm not gonna back up and look at it again. But you literally saw the developer like, oh, like it just brought up all these freaking emotions. And I'm pretty sure he didn't go, hey, before the show, you know, like you could have asked that at the end. You could have asked that off camera, right? I didn't know there was like a relief promo happening during the interview.
Looks totally frozen moment, and it's super. It's not frightening. It's amazing, and it's impossible to make it somewhere else, because it would cost just a lot of money just to evacuate whole the city, and the nature takes its part there. So the trees start to grow through the asphalt. There are trees growing on top of the buildings, like you see the five level building, so it's high, and there is a tree, and it looks so futuristic and fantastic and amazing. And getting this experience helps a lot to do this game, to understand what we want to show. We want to give a portion of this experience too, and because of this real place, and it's just like 120 kilometers from the Kyiv, so it's very close, and we want to both give this experience and give a heavy story.
Exactly,
and
Sarge.
also
Exactly.
bring very realistic, not realistic, but the game should looks like it's realistic. So there are a lot of details to the weapons, to the attached upgrades, and it's yeah.
Can I dive into that for a second? I'm curious. One of the locations.
We are like 9 minutes into his interview, right? 9 minutes into his interview, and you can tell just there. Look at the difference of his talk right here.
So there are a lot of details to the weapons.
He's now back to normal.
Upgrades, and it's yeah.
Can I dive into that for a second? I'm curious. One of the locations you've shown in a lot of the trailers is the array. For example, the radar array. I think it's called the Dunga array. I don't know that specifically.
You mean the trailer, right?
Just in Stalker 2 footage that we've seen.
Yeah. So it's an Dunga. It's an actual construction. What was built by military? It was secret. Why it's there, but the most realistic explanation is that it's a big radar that can find if someone will launch the nuclear missile, ballistic missile on other part of the planet. The signals will go and bounce through the atmosphere, and this big radar.
Yeah, Kuda. I don't think he expected to get the answer that he got.
Inform about this.
What is it in your universe though? Because it's all electrified.
It's almost like people. You ever have this happen to you? I'm sure you have. Everyone has, right? When someone says good morning to you, right? Or how are you? Or how's your day? They're really asking just because it's polite to ask, right? But that one time you ask somebody and all of a sudden they're like, well, I had a really bad time or whatever, and they just unload and you're like, I had somewhere to go. But you asked, right? So don't ask the question if you don't want to hear the response.
And it seems like there's anomalies there. I'm curious to learn more.
It's just a location. It's not a key part. Like it's not a character of the game. It's just a.
We're not complaining, Chris. We're complaining that it's the inappropriate place to do it.
But it's not.
And I'm talking about it so other people
I don't want to
know when an appropriate time to ask a question is.
Yeah, that's one of the key.
Yeah, Yevgeny, I would love to have more time with you, but we are out of time for this interview. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions.
Also, thank you. And thank you for watching. For more on all things Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, keep it right here at IGN. And for more on all things Gamescom, also keep it right here on IGN.
You should apologize to him once the camera's off.
Be there. Be strong. Be fierce. Be better.
As well, and it was from their clothes could come in, and I just got to play Zenless Zone Zero, and it is fun. It is going to be really dangerous because I actually really like this game, and there's so many different elements to it that will definitely keep you playing for a while.
So an interview at a convention is not appropriate. Better IGN headquarters? Titan. This is a gaming convention. It's a developer that is in Ukraine, and the problem with Ukraine is happening. And if you've lived under a rock, maybe you don't know about it. But a gaming convention, let me ask this. If you're at a wedding or maybe your son's birthday party, and then all of a sudden you ask a question, hey, how was that murder that happened down the street? Is that an appropriate time to ask that question? Everyone's celebrating. Everyone's having a good old time. And then all of a sudden you're like, so how did that person kill 3 of your children yesterday? That's a good time to ask the question?
So first of all, let's go into the combat because I am definitely more into action games, and this is that. It's definitely a hack and slash, and I loved that they brought in this sort of approachable way that new players could come in and just kind of slash their way around and kind of figure things out, right? Stumble around, spam the same button over and over, but it's really easy to learn combinations, and it's actually pretty challenging for returning players as well, so they really wanted to make sure that it catered to 2 different audiences, and I think they did a great job of that. I have never played a Hoyoverse game before, so for me playing that, I was a little bit confused, but everything was really easy
Exactly,
to learn. The
Quintar.
tutorial was great.
Hey, Steve, we want you to go to Gamescom to talk about Stalker. Oh, cool. I appreciate that. Thanks. He gets there. He sits on the couch. How you doing, Steve? Great. Oh, fantastic. I have a question for you. How was your time? I know you're in Ukraine, and I know that your coworkers and family members got murdered. Would you like to talk about that right now before we ask you questions about your Stalker game?
It's my first hands-on for this game as well, and it was from their closed beta before. So it's not the current build, but it is the build before. So I did get to play
If you guys don't see the problem with that, there's a problem.
some of that. Some of the characters are really cool. There was a cat girl with 2 tails. I know, weird, but she was really powerful. She was much faster than the polar bear that I got to play as well. So that was really interesting. And there's a whole other mechanic and whole other playstyle too. So Zenless Zone Zero's story focuses on this world plagued by these natural disasters called hollows, and they create these different dimensions. So your proxy kind of goes in to fight these monsters called ethereals. So they're plagued by different ethers, and it's people who get turned and stuff. It's really interesting. So what I really liked about the combat as well is that you kind of get graded at the end of each level. So I got S tier, of course, but it was also tutorial level, so I shouldn't brag too much. But it's really cool.
This looks like that game.
Immediate
What was the game that we played? Oh, you played it as a no.
feedback on how
It's on Game Pass. Is it Noir? No. What the hell was
much
it called?
damage you're doing, and then at the end of the level or a boss fight, you get to see your tier, and it's really cool. It kind of makes you want to replay it and get a better score. So also with this, not only with combat, there's also this sort of life sim area where you can go around. It's called the city. You can walk around, you can talk to vendors, you can talk to people, and it's really cool
like
because you get
Persona.
to interact with this world. You go into a little city in Tokyo, and it's really cool. You get to hear people talking to each other. You get to see these cute little bunny characters that are offering you shop items, and there's also a really cool ramen guy who says,
Crispy says, "Is it rude to ask someone how their sick friend or family member pet is doing? So when you answer, it might be sad." It's not rude or bad if you're saying it off camera. If you're saying it on camera, do you not see the difference? If me and you were having a conversation and I ask you, how's your dad? How's your sick sister? How's this happening? There's a camera with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching. You think that's the same?
make the best ramen around town. So it's
That's
really
it,
cool.
Lurker.
Also, you
Thank
have
you
to
very
manage
much.
a shop where you sell VHS tapes, and you have to cater to different people who come in and want to buy different movies. So it's really cool, and that's how you get in-game currency as well. So not only is there
Exactly,
an
Big T.
extremely cool fighting sequence that you can constantly go into and play, but there's also that sort of shopkeeping mechanic, which is definitely the reason why I'm going to be playing for a long time. So unfortunately, I didn't get to experience the gacha mechanics in here, but I'm assuming it's going to be very similar to Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, where you pull different characters and weapons. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see that, but there was a super funny line when I was running around in the city, and there was actually a gacha machine there, and the main character said, "Oh, my brother makes fun of me for liking gacha games," and I'm like, it's a little on the nose there. So Zenless Zone Zero has a really cool art style. It's kind of cel-shaded, but it also definitely looks like Genshin, but kind of set in an urban space. Not quite modern times because it doesn't really have a timeline associated with it, but it's really cool because it does feel like you're in this whole new world. It feels like you're walking through an anime, and I really like that because it feels like a slice of life anime when you're walking around through the city. And then it also makes you feel like you're in a badass monster slaying anime when you're fighting these ether creatures, and it's really cool. I really liked it. So the art style is definitely.
Now that it's on an interview, more people will know and support the devs. And that's my very point in the very beginning, Titan. That they used it as a crutch. No, we're not going to move on, right? I'll let you know when we move on, right? They use it as an ability instead of just talking about the game And for you to make a decision if you like Stalker 1 and Stalker 2 and what type of game it is, and you make the decision of what it is, you are now going to go, oh man, I have no interest in that game, but I really feel sad for whatever his name was. Okay. It's not about awareness. This is not a show to bring awareness to those events. He didn't come there to interview, to talk about the events. He came there to talk about the actual game that he was there for. Like, I don't know your age. I hope you're not an adult like me, like 45 years old, and think that's a good etiquette to do on camera. I can't imagine.
Really cool. The shadow work is actually very good, and the different sorts of animation styles when you have different.
I have a question. Are you writing a check right now? Are you getting it Stalker 2 right now? Are you writing that check to get Stalker 2 to help the devs out?
Different fighting combos. It's really cool. So I don't know. I found myself getting really surprised by this because I don't usually like games like this, but I will totally play the hell out of this. I mentioned previously that I played as a cat girl with 2 tails, and she's definitely super fast. I loved her build. She was really easy to evade monster attacks with, but I did also make a whole team of animal characters, I guess. So I had the cat girl. I also had a bear that definitely did the heaviest attacks, right? Like he's kind of like a tank. So his attacks were much slower. He was slower to evade. So it's really cool to be able to interact with these 2 different characters that had very opposite features. Then I actually played as a wolf as well. There's a wolf character, and he was kind of in between. He was a medium melee character, which is really cool. And then for the main characters, you have a sniper, you have someone who's very good at using his 2 handguns, and then you have another person who's really good at melee. So it was really cool to have someone sort of back up and be able to do damage from afar, and then finish up by switching characters to the girl who's very good at like slashing up close. And I really liked that for boss fights. I think that was very helpful because sometimes I could not get some of those dodge.
This looks fun with the guy with the
right.
guns.
So just being able to be a
I
little
like the
bit
guy with
further
the big
away and
ass
shooting was
rocket
the
launcher.
way to go. Unfortunately, I don't have a release date for you for Zenless Zone Zero.
I don't know if it's a
but
mobile game.
You can
Water.
play it if you're here at Gamescom, so you can come to the HoYoverse booth and fight me for a place in line because I'm gonna go play it again. But in the meantime, be sure to keep it right here at IGN for all of your news and updates on everything HoYoverse. Well, that just about wraps us up for day 1 of Gamescom Studio powered by IGN, but we're only just getting started here. We'll be live all week and through the weekend. We've got tons of interviews, exclusive gameplay, the Gamescom cosplay contest powered by
We're going to back up a little bit and watch the beginning.
Award show celebrating the biggest, best, and the most innovative games here at IGN.
If they talk about anything we missed.
Everywhere. And tomorrow on Gamescom Studio, we're taking a look at a bunch of awesome games and chatting with the people making them. A few highlights include Mortal Kombat 1, Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty expansion, The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, Wayfinder, and Lies of P. That's a lot. I think we'll be okay, right?
Oh, and in the meantime, head to IGN.com/rewards where you can win tons of awesome prizes.
But his combo battle also holds the level up system. However, a 55-minute demo provided 3 boss fights and a Black Myth Wukong released its first trailer 3 years ago. Every year on August 20th,
was that 3 years ago when they did that?
Science has shown something new about the development progress of the game. However, what's different this year is that we finally got to play it. My 45-minute demo provided 3 boss fights and a relatively complete chapter experience. It's worth noting that after the event, the dev team made some adjustments to the trial version based on the feedback and suggestions received during the closed-door evaluation that I participated in. As a result, my experience may differ slightly from what others experienced in Hangzhou and at Gamescom in Cologne. Due to time limitations, this trial version did not include the level up system. However, it provided players with a set of skills and equipment that will be obtained in the mid-game of the final version. In addition to basic light and heavy attacks, the protagonist's attack stances can be switched between 3 different postures, including smash form, pillar form, and thrust form at any time. Furthermore, spells such as Immobilize,
cool.
Stone Solid, Ring of Fire, and the Pluck of Many are also available for use. There are also 2 transformation abilities. One turns you into the previously seen Fireblade Wolf, and the other results in a creature with poisonous attacks. Additionally, players will find and collect certain potions for in-game use. It's important to note that these configurations may vary slightly depending on the different stages. The first boss is named Centipede Guai, and it appeared in the first 13-minute gameplay trailer released in 2020. This time, it awaits players in a horrible cave. Its attack methods include rolling and heavy punches, as well as the ability to release poisonous gas. This gas inflicts a slow-acting poison effect on the protagonist, causing gradual health loss, which can only be cured by consuming antidote potions. However, this boss is considered...
The reason I'm listening to McCaffrey talk about this is because we've never heard any kind of information from it. We've only seen actual stuff, so he played it, so that's why I'm listening to it.
Relatively easy overall in terms of difficulty for this trial version. After becoming familiar with its attack patterns, most players should be able to defeat it easily. The second boss is the Macaque Chief, as seen in the Snow Mountain of the 2021 trailer. This time, players can experience the sequence just as it was shown. You can observe how the protagonist's movements and combat in the snow-covered terrain dynamically affect the accumulation of snow in real time. This battle also holds a secret. If the Macaque Chief's health is reduced to...
Don't tell us the secret, McCaffrey. He's like, this guy holds a secret. Let me ruin it for you.
Half.
We're gonna let it play. So if you don't want to be ruined, close your ear holes.
Within a certain time, it triggers his second phase. To encounter the monkey with wings, the protagonist needs to venture deeper into the scene. In this state, the monkey's aggression, attack range, and attack patterns all increase significantly. It gains the ability to launch aerial assaults against the player, making for a thrilling and intense encounter. The third boss is the Tiger Vanguard, who appeared...
I don't remember seeing him
in the 2022 trailer.
I don't remember seeing that from the 2022 trailer. I must have missed that one.
This time, the Tiger Vanguard awaits players as challenges in a blood pool in a temple. According to the developers, this boss will play a role in the storyline as an NPC who imparts the Stone Solid skill to the protagonist. Therefore, you will witness him using this skill during the battle. One highlight of this scene is how the water reacts and changes dynamically with the actions in combat. The Tiger Vanguard boasts the highest attack speed and aggression among the 3 bosses. Not only does he possess both physical and spell-based attack abilities, but his combo attacks also deal substantial damage, making it easy to fall victim to his assault. The chapter experience provided during the Hangzhou event that I played the game at is called Purple Cloud Mountain. The overall scenery is somewhat reminiscent of the in-game footage shown in the 2022 trailer. This is a relatively complete level experience, featuring various environments such as forests, villages, and temples. There are also as many as 4 or 5 types of enemies waiting for players along the way. Don't underestimate these minions, as they also possess the ability to deliver a fatal blow to the protagonist with a single strike. There's also a detour path in the level that players might not easily find, where they can encounter a hidden boss, the Poisonous King. This creature has the appearance of a scorpion-like monster. After engaging in conversation with it, players need to break the wine barrel beside it to start the battle. This hidden boss presents the
So glad he's telling you about stuff that you can't find out by yourself.
highest level of difficulty.
He could have just said this guy was out in the world instead of telling you how to get the guy.
In this trial version, it possesses extremely fast attacks, deals heavy damage, and boasts skills that inflict poison on the player. It took me nearly an hour of fighting to defeat it, and there were several instances where I succumbed to poison before being able to use the cure
IGN, ruining
potion
games
in
since
time.
2009.
And while Black Myth shares some similarities in its mechanics with the Dark Souls series, the combat feel here is quite distinct from any other similar games. In my opinion, this distinction arises from the fact that in other Souls-like games, players typically wielded weapons like swords or axes, with the grip at the weapon's end during combat. However, in Black Myth Wukong, the main weapon is a staff, primarily held in the middle. The grip on the staff changes according to different moves, creating a varied rhythm and action, even changing the length of the staff.
Like, he could have said, like, this is a hidden boss. I'm not going to tell you how to get it, but it's a pretty cool fight. Like, something along those lines, right? Nope, this is how you do it.
In combat, the impact feedback from the staff striking enemies is quite distinctive as well. Coupled with the support from the spell system during combat, Black Myth Wukong stands apart as an action RPG with a unique feel, differentiating itself from other ARPG and action games that have come before. Ultimately, despite developer Game Science providing a substantial amount of gameplay content in this trial version, there are still numerous questions waiting to be answered. For example, whether the protagonist possesses any other weapons, how the level up system works and what the skill tree looks like, and how many transformations and spells are available. All of these questions can only be answered once the game is finally released. Speaking of which, Black Myth Wukong is currently scheduled for release in the summer of 2024 for both PC and next generation console platforms. For more on your favorite games, keep it right here
For
on
more
IGN.
of ruining games, stay tuned to IGN. Like, it's different to me if they wrote an article and they're like, spoiler alert, or made a video and said spoilers and then said it. No, you just say it. Come on and say it. The hidden boss. Here's how you do it.
I'm glad you mentioned Metro at the show. They have a booth. Metro Exodus was 2019, several years ago now, and they haven't announced what they're doing yet. So why are they there? I think Opening Night Live, which is the event that kicks off Jeff Keighley's event, I think Tuesday kicks off the show. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they announce a new Metro game there, and then it's playable, or there's demos behind closed doors or something on the show floor. What do you think?
Totally, yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
so this is way early.
2019 is not that long ago, but
4 years.
4 years. Metro's a great series, though, and if they're gonna announce a new Metro game, like, I'm not gonna be like, hey, announce something else.
No complaints. Yeah. You mentioned the Nintendo booth, Destin. Let's talk about that. So we've got a pretty good idea.
Hold on.
Kids, party time.
That's Chernobyl. That's Stalker 2.
What's up, kids? Party time.
This is the pre-show.
Almost a full year.
We already saw that. Watch that. All right.
Stalker 2, joined by my good pals. Exploring happening at Gamescom. What cares? Whether that's Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Twitch, or YouTube. All right. Well, we're going to be showing up
here. I'm pretty unbelievable. Starfield right now in this recreation cockpit. It is pretty unbelievable. Starfield's one of the million things that I wanted to do while I was here. I'm going to be checking out the retro area. I'm going to check out the Nintendo booth. I'm going to check out the Sega booth. I'm going to check out all the booths. I'm going to check out the booths that sell French fries as well. That's just the kind of guy that I am. We are here for the entire run of Gamescom. We've got a ton of things.
Our next game is going to be checking out the mystery game. The Gardener did it. Yeah. Well, now we promoted your game and we also ruined it at the same time.
Happening, live shows, presentations, the award show. You got to check it out. Make sure to keep it right here on IGN.
Well, it looks like a ton of fun out there. Luckily, we've got a lot of great stuff planned here in the studio as well. Xbox's Phil Spencer will be joining us, as well as visionary filmmaker Zack Snyder. We'll also see what's going on with Alan Wake 2.
I know this is going to be hard to believe, but all the
right a lot, and we caught a lot of great games. Some of my favorites, Alan
This
Wake
is the last
2.
time we watched everything
I'm
else.
Really excited what Remedy is doing with that game. We revealed that at the Game Awards back in 2021 with Sam Lake.
Story will eat you alive.
And then he came back at Summer Game Fest this year and showcased Saga Anderson and her side of the story, which is kind of a surprise. There's another playable character.
Sounds like somebody's home.
Out of that came out and wondered, well, what's Alan Wake's story? Where is he? And he's obviously in a dark place. And it was kind of hinted at in the trailer that they put out back in May.
I'm really surprised
great at Gamescom
that they
to finally
ended
get
with
to see
Alan
the
Wake
gameplay
last
and
night.
mix of live action elements and what his gameplay is going to be like. So it was a really amazing piece that Sam and the Remedy team put together in Alan Wake 2. So that was one of my favorite reveals in the show, because that whole game now, when you get both pieces of the puzzle and how those stories are going to intersect, I cannot wait to see how it all fits together, especially the live action footage. So that was a fun and surprising trailer.
Why do you keep saying, Papa, that a company's going to file Chapter 11? What are you reading?
Another game that we were really excited to showcase was Mortal Kombat 1. Ed Boon and the team have done just such an amazing job with all the trailers
God, that was loud.
for Mortal Kombat, and to have another couple character reveals, another couple
What are you reading that something's filing Chapter 11?
cameos. I love fighting games as a producer of these shows, because every character reveal ends up being kind of a piece of news and something exciting for the fan base. And we only have to wait a month for MK, but every time Ed shows a trailer, I just feel like there's so
the trailer yesterday when they what's her name? I don't know the characters from Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry. When she like launched herself in the air and like broke his fucking crotch, I was like, oh, like I literally cringed.
Edited, and they're just so fun, and the dialogue and the characters come to life in such an amazing way. So I cannot wait to see how Mortal Kombat what actually ships in a month. But it was awesome to have Ed on stage as well, which I thought was really great.
Exactly, Rose. Like Alan Wake was the one more thing type of thing, and that to me was just kind of weird.
It was also fun to have Todd Howard with us to talk about Starfield, which we're really, really excited that's coming out in just a week. And that game looks incredible. And, the fact that it's coming so soon, I think, is also fantastic. And there's a lot they haven't shared about that game. So I was excited to have Starfield in the show as well. Another game we're excited to have in O&L was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That will be coming out on November 10th from the team at Sledgehammer, and that was a really great to see 10 minutes of gameplay.
Charlie, good to go. Roger.
What I liked about that was that we just got to see the raw game, and I always remember the old E3s. Those Call of Duty demos were just fun to just see raw gameplay. It wasn't just a trailer, and to have a 10-minute sequence of a game, I think is really great, because it gives people at home a sense of what's really going to be in the game, and how it's going to play and how it's going to feel. So I thought that was
hugely
great.
anticipated game, Alan Wake 2. Hugely.
And then another game that I thought was just tons of fun was a game called Thank Goodness You're Here.
You think that Alan Wake, what did it sell? 4 million, 5 million copies? Hugely anticipated game is 20, 30, 40, 50 million copies. Hugely anticipated Alan Wake 2? Really?
Here comes from Panic, the team that's done some amazing games like Untitled Goose Game and Newer the Food Game, and I love that group. And we saw that trailer, and it's just like completely out of left field, tons of fun, unexpected. And when you produce these shows, you try and have a bit of a balance in the tone of things. So that was a really sort of fun and different reveal that we had in the show, which I was really super happy to have be a part of it. And then another game that I think was sort of exciting and surprising to see was Black Myth Wukong. And that's a game that has been seen a number of times. I think people always wondered, like, is it real? What's it going to play like? How is it? And we worked with the team at Game Science to put together a trailer. It's actually playable here, the game, which is amazing. So you can actually go hands-on with it.
I don't know if they
They're
paid
saying
for
summer
it.
2024 for the.
It just seems strange to me, because let's look at it this way, right? I don't know what the sales are, right? So let's look up what Alan Wake total sales. 4.5 million games. Alan Wake, cult favorite, right? Cult, meaning small, right? Cult favorite, Xbox 360, later PC exclusive, which sold over 3 million copies and wasn't quite enough to justify a full sequel. But it did result in 2 DLC add-ons and standalone digital-only spin-off. They, for Travis to say highly anticipated, and yet it didn't quite sell enough or justify a full sequel. 13 years later, they made a sequel, right? So to say that highly anticipated and it sold 4.5 million copies, I get if it's in your like little circle, but that game, 4.5 million, I would love 4.5 million of anything. I don't care if it's M&Ms or dollar bills, okay? But if Starfield only sold 5 million, everyone here would be like, it's a flop. But this sells 4.5 million, and we're saying that it's highly anticipated. To end the show is just a little weird. You know what I mean? Bo's saying it's coming to Game Pass. Is it? Or Mo, you say everything is coming to Game Pass. People were banging on about it. They caved. It was the game at its time for a circle people. I was also okay with one Alan Wake. Look, I never played Alan Wake, so I'm not giving crap to Alan Wake. I'm just saying when someone says highly anticipated, I'm thinking Fallout. I'm thinking Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm thinking like Fallout 5. I'm thinking Skyrim 6. I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like highly anticipated games. That's what I'm thinking, highly anticipated. Oh, if it's not on Game Pass, it's not anticipated by you at all. I got it. Sure, Salty. Sure. I mean, obviously, anything that you love, you're highly anticipated for. But to say that the game is highly anticipated when the actual thing itself said it wasn't quite enough to justify a full sequel. And that was written back in July 2nd of 2019. I think Alan Wake, when it came out, was pretty... When did it launch? It launched 13 years ago, so we're talking like 2009, right? 2010, right? It was pretty ahead of its time as far as graphically and whatnot, and the way they do the storytelling. I remember at E3, right? The way the shading and stuff looked, people were like, "Wow, man, this looks great." Like, I get that. Right. Spider-Man 2 is highly anticipated. More anticipated than Starfield. What is Alan Wake? Maybe for you. All right, do you want to lose? Do you want to lose another bet, Travis? What do you think will sell more? What do you think will sell more? Alan Wake 2 or Starfield? Now, that's a pretty good bet because Starfield, 80%, 85% of the people are going to play it on Game Pass. So what do you think is going to sell more at launch? Starfield or Alan Wake 2? Oh, you're saying Spider-Man 2 is more anticipated than Starfield. Anticipation, because we knew there's a difference. Everyone knew Spider-Man 2 was coming, right? And Starfield's been built up over 8 years. Starfield was talked about before the first Spider-Man came out. So I don't know about if Spider-Man's more anticipated. Now, this is coming from I'm a Spider-Man fan, right? I don't think it's more anticipated than a brand new IP. Give me 1 second. Alan Wake 2 is a Game Pass only game. Starfield will actually have sales on Xbox. Like I just don't see I just don't see the like Spider-Man's anticipated. Right? Spider-Man's anticipated. Now, a hard bet would be, is Spider-Man 2 going to outsell Starfield? Now, Starfield is on Game Pass, so it's not going to sell, but it's going to have more interaction than people that buy Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, when it comes out, will probably make 5 million sales, and then over time, it'll surpass, which I think was 22 million, about a year and a half, 2 years after Spider-Man came out. So I would say that Spider-Man 2 would probably sell more copies, 20 million, 22 million, 25 million in the long run. But at launch, it would be pretty tight. Spider-Man will outsell Starfield. It'll be pretty tight, Sarge. Because Spider-Man only sold, I think, three and a half or 5 million in the first month, right? So Starfield, I think, is still going to sell 4 to 5 million, and then everything else is going to be on Game Pass. So that's understandable, Water. You don't know what to expect of Starfield. You know exactly what to expect from Spider-Man 2 because you played Spider-Man 1, you absolutely loved it. You played Miles Morales, you absolutely loved it. So now you know exactly, it's more of everything that you already love. Where Starfield, you're like, I don't know what the fuck it is. Well, Rose, people are going to buy it because they want that 5 days early access, right? So how many people, right? I'm going to say 3.5 to 5 million, somewhere between that range is how many people are going to buy Starfield. I think everyone else just gets it on Game Pass. And that's not a shot at Starfield going, no one's buying it. 4 to 5 million is different than 12.5 million for Fallout 3, right? 15 million for Fallout 4, for Skyrim. This will be the most played but less sold game of Bethesda games. This will be the most popular game, but least amount of sales. All of Twitch is buying it. Early access counts as sales. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. 3.5 to 5 million is what I'm saying for people that buy it. Once it comes out on September 6th, more people will try it for $17 or $10. And Kick and YouTube. Well, I'll be honest with you, Salty. I have a copy that I got. I didn't pay for it. It's $100 value, right? That I got from Keymailer, right? So how many other people got it for early access? Not for review copy, for early access, right? I didn't pay for it. So if you're talking about YouTuber and Twitch streamers, a lot of people were going to be given the code. You get early access, have all the next weekend, and play it and just relax. Stop other things. You use gift cards? No. I paid $10. Microsoft paid the rest. Yeah, but that doesn't count towards sales. Well, that doesn't count towards sales. It's a completely different. Not everyone will get a code. Not everyone needs a code. They literally wait till the September 6th, and they can pay $10 and play it on Game Pass. Again, I'm not saying it's not going to sell. I'm just saying that number probably will be 3.5 to 5 million for the early access or pre-orders, right? And then once the game comes out, that first week, do you think there's more people buying it, or more people are going to wait to see what it is before they buy it, or wait for Game Pass? True, like even SkillUp didn't get a code. He didn't get a review code. There's a difference. There's a difference between a review code to get early access in it to give a review, and then to get an actual early access code for let that streamer or content creator then play your game to get more people to look at it and watch it. Anyone who bought this game when you could play it on Game Pass has more money than common sense. No, not true. There's people that are excited to get the game. There's the hardcore Bethesda fans that are going to buy the game regardless. Here. Let's see. Fallout 76. Let's see. For the first time, Fallout 76 appears on the chart. It sold a little more than 1 million units across 3 platforms when it first came out. Right? Those diehard fans that saw Fallout 76, there's still 1 million people that bought it across the 3 platforms. Right? Let's see. Fallout 3. Sales at launch. Elder Scrolls 5 Oblivion and shipped almost 5 million copies in its first week. The game received post-launch support. So Fallout 3 sold more than Bethesda's previous games, Elder Scrolls, which sold 5 million copies, right? This is on all platforms, and all the people that bought Fallout 3 was just more than 5 million copies, right? Which was more than Skyrim, right? For Oblivion, okay? So now let's go to Fallout 4. We knew that Fallout 4 was going to be big, but now we know that just Bethesda announced today that it shipped 12 million copies of its signature post-apocalyptic world, an open-world shooter RPG on launch day alone, totaling 750,000. So they shipped. Now, we don't know if those are sales, but the first day, let's see, sold in its first day, it says 12 million, right? And that's across, again, all platforms. So now, Starfield is not across all platforms. It's on Xbox, it's on PC, and it's on Game Pass. So do you think that Starfield sells more copies than Fallout 4 at 12 million copies that was across all platforms? It says here, Skyrim, which was a 2011 Game of the Year, sold through 3.5 million copies during the first 48 hours. That's another point, bros. That's another point, right? Whereas people that are as psyched, though, for IP, for a brand new IP, they're also a little hesitant about the new IP because they don't know what it is. Crispy says, I'm not paying for early access to play, but if it's just smart for Microsoft to upsell early access and expansions up front for $30, it also will help with the official sales number. Absolutely, right? Because now they're selling something that was $70. Now they're selling it for $100, right? So they get that extra. So every 2 games that sells, they're almost making another game sale, right? They're making that extra money for that one sale for an extra $30 for 5 days early access, right? So we're talking copies sold. Copies sold. I think it sells between 3.5 to 5 million on Xbox and PC. Now, if we talk about players playing, current players on PC, on Steam, I think that's going to be a gigantic number, because I think people, once September 6th comes out, they're gonna pay the $10. They're gonna pay the $17 or $16 to get Game Pass and play it on PC, play it on their Samsung TV, play it on thing. There's gonna be more people playing, but I don't think it's gonna make those actual sales. This will be a hard one to guess, 30. Why? Because FOMO will be real. If the game is great, people will want to buy it to get their hands in. But it's also a single-player game, Water. If it was a multiplayer game you could play with your friends and stuff like that, I can see people going, oh, man, I need it now. Where if it's a single-player game and they're like, I can wait 5 days, they still don't know what it is, right? They still don't know if they're going to like it or whatnot. Look at yourself, right? You bought Baldur's Gate 3, and then you wanted a refund, right? You didn't know what it was. And now you're going back into it. There's going to be a ton of people that are hyped because of space and because it's Bethesda and they saw a commercial. Then they get the game and they're going to be like, ah. So if they're unsure, why would they pay $70? Why would they pay $100 early access if they don't know if they're going to like it, where they could just wait 5 days and then pay $10? People are saying that Steam might hit 1 million concurrent. Sure. But that also goes into that 3.5 to 5 million copies sold for early access, Mo. And also the codes, right? I have an early access code. I didn't pay for it. So if I got a code for PC and what do you think? I'm the only person on planet Earth that got the code for early access, right? So how many other people got the code? And if we got it for PC or we got it for Xbox, and what that concurrent number is going to be on Steam. You see what I'm saying? $17. Yeah, whatever. I think it sells. I just don't think it sells 7 million copies. I don't think it sells, competing with Fallout 4 with 12 million copies. I got it for Xbox. For Xbox is the code they gave me for Xbox. Which now makes me feel better, Mo, right? They gave me the code for Xbox now, which makes me feel better because now if I want to spend my money, right, because I want to buy it on PC, now I can go buy it for PC. Dave Rose says, heck, my brother got a code and he has the world's smallest Twitch channel, like 50 subs. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Because that's advertisement. Because if they give it to a streamer, if they give it to a YouTuber or a Kick person, anybody that's playing the game that actually has 25 people watching them, or 1,000 people, or 10,000 people watching them, they're gonna play the game. People are gonna look at it and go, "Oh, it looks good. It looks bad. It looks whatever." But they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get that. I don't feel like spending $100. I don't feel like spending $70. I'll go on Game Pass," and that's what Xbox wants. Are the 76 controversy affecting Starfield, or most people forgot about it? No, people bring it up all the time. People bring it up all the time. That's the one thing they think Starfield is going to bomb and be terrible is because of Fallout 76. It doesn't matter that they made Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim, Oblivion, and Morrowind, and I think 4 of the 5 games were considered to be Game of the Year, like in the contention of Game of the Year. But because they made Fallout 76, which wasn't even their main studio, they still were part of it, but wasn't even their main studio. All of a sudden, Starfield is going to be an absolute travesty because of Fallout 76. It's there every single day. It'll be there when the game comes out. They'll compare it. You don't need to buy it on PC. It's buy once, play it on PC and Xbox. Yeah, but they gave me the Xbox code, which is the Windows version of Starfield, not the Steam version. So the Steam version is where the mods will be, where the Microsoft version is the paid mods that you have to buy within the store or whatever. I don't see a lot of people bringing it up. Maybe that not in the right circles. Hey, you don't see anyone talking trash about Starfield in any way, shape, or form? That's because of Fallout 76. When it's as bad as 76 at launch, do people who paid for the game upwards of 100 like with Battlefield 24 demand their money back? Well, unfortunately, Travis, if it comes out as bad as Fallout 76, which I don't think it will because that's a multiplayer, and a lot of the problems they had was because of the coding and whatnot for multiplayer. It's a single-player game, so I don't see the same type of problems. I still think it's going to have its Bethesda glitches and bugs, which were in Morrowind and Oblivion and Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and Skyrim. It was in all of those, right? I think it still has those issues. That's not making it protecting Bethesda. That's just the way it is. But I don't think that people want their money back. Some people got their money back for 2042. Some people got their money back for Cyberpunk 2077, but the majority of people said, whatever, I'll play it later because it'll be fixed down the road. So in your world, if it comes out as broke as Fallout 76, sure, some people will get their money back. Everybody else will just be like, it's fine. They'll fix it down the road. Certain fanboys bring up Fallout 76 all the time. Let's be honest about that. Absolutely. But everyone's hesitation of Fallout 76, Vandal, is because of Starfield is because of 76. No one's comparing Starfield to what they did with Skyrim or Fallout 4 or Fallout 3. They only do what have you done for me lately, and the last thing they did was Fallout 76, and now they'll bring up Redfall because Bethesda launched Redfall, even though they didn't work on it, right? It was Arcane it was Arcane Studios. Come on, Stealth. The Microsoft Store encrypts the game's directory, so Steam will be the best place to get the mods for. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So they gave me the code for Xbox, and yeah, I can play it on the PC, but I don't have the version. You can grab mods from the Steam and install it from the proper folder. Okay, well, if that's the case then, and I don't have to jump through hoops, Okuda Papa, then great. I have it for PC as well. Somehow Redfall is brought up in Starfield in a bad narrative, and Bethesda didn't even make Redfall. Exactly, Vandal. That's what I'm saying, though. They bring up Redfall and they bring up Fallout 76. Both of the companies that didn't make Starfield. People that worked on Starfield also helped out on Fallout 76, but the main studio didn't make it. Well, the Creation Engine is brand new, Titan, right? It's supposed to be a brand new engine. I said this last night when we were playing Fallout 76, right? I said that with a new engine comes new problems, right? So I still think you get those bugs and glitches of the stuff. Maybe not the same as like Skyrim or Fallout 4, but you're going to get new types of bugs and glitches with the engine. That's always going to happen. Are they going to be game breaking? That's the problem. Like Baldur's Gate 3 is not flawless, right? There's glitches and bugs inside Baldur's Gate 3, but the enjoyment of the pros and cons, pros outweigh the cons. In your view, what is the best Bethesda comparison? To compare Starfield to? Is that what you're asking, Lurker? Starfield Early Access start date is Friday, September 1st. Releasing at the following times: U.S. Thursday, 31st August at 8 p.m. I don't know if that's PC as well. I think PC is actually on the day. Yeah, I think what Dupless is saying, like Fallout, Skyrim. I think the exploration. I think it's going to feel like more like Fallout than Skyrim, just because there's no guns in Skyrim. I mean, you had magic and stuff like that. But I feel like it's going to be. I even joked about it last night with Dupless. I said I feel like the game that I'm playing in Fallout 76 is like our grandpappy in Starfield. Like, the world got so shitty that we had to leave Fallout 76 and fly into space and go to Starfield. So to compare it to one of their other games, I mean, their best game that people love the most is Skyrim. So I think the comparison will be, will this be as good as Skyrim? Right? But the Fallout crew, people love Fallout. Fallout 4 was very popular, but people didn't really like the story or whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like because you could build in Fallout 4 with the settlements and whatnot, and you can build your bases in Starfield, and there's guns, and then there's guns. I feel like it would be more comparable to Fallout than it would be Skyrim. But that's just looking at it. You know what I mean? Not playing it. I see it as Fallout 4 in space. Yeah, I think a lot of people get that kind of vibe from it. Todd himself said Skyrim in space. So I'm going by that. Well, there you go. I don't remember guns. I don't remember guns, though. I don't remember guns in Skyrim, which is, I would assume by battling is, I don't know, 40% of the game. Considering they also said there's no passive mode or pacifist mode. Todd said Skyrim because it's way more popular than Fallout 4. That's a good point. Probably. I feel like it's going to be as popular as Skyrim, but I think it's going to feel like Fallout in space. Great engine for specific application in Battlefield. It's not flexible for Unreal Engine, though. I want to do the other thing. What did Travis say? You know what engine they need to drop for Frostbite? Well, Frostbite's great for. I mean, they use Frostbite for all the Battlefield games, and they use it for Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. I mean, Frostbite engine is really good. Now, if you're making someone make a game like, because I think they used Frostbite engine for Anthem, didn't they? And Anthem didn't work out too well because that engine wasn't meant for what they used it for. It was made for FIFA, though? No, the Frostbite engine was made for first-person shooters, Salty. It was made by DICE, if I'm not mistaken. I remember reading an article years ago. I forget what season we were in GXG. They literally EA wanted all of their studios to start using the Frostbite engine. Hence why I said stay away from Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age 4, whatever the next one is, right? Because they made them use the Frostbite engine just like they made Anthem use it. They were talking about making the Frostbite engine and letting all, like, they wanted Madden and they wanted FIFA to use it. I was like, that's awful. Why would you do that? It was literally specifically meant for Battlefield. All right. Well over the time that I wanted to stream to, but I appreciate the talk and the conversation. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a great, wonderful day. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Leave in a comment section down below. Hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. Do appreciate it very much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.